Chapter 1111. The opponent was the Wang family, the god of war family that was at the peak of power in the astral souls. Gu Qi was very melancholic. Deep down, he was still just a general manager of a small company that if this matter was really exposed, the consequences would be unimaginable. There was almost no maybe. The article and photos sent by the big boss were given to everyone. Gu Qi wanted to see everyone's reaction. After all, this company belonged to the big boss, and everyone present was just a worker. However, if all the higher-ups were to collectively object, this report would not be published. For example, if everyone expressed their intention to resign, at least in Gu Qi's opinion, at least half of the company's employees would choose to resign immediately after seeing this report and stay away from this inevitable circle of trouble. The other half would resign after persuading them to do their best. This was the situation that Gu Qi thought should happen. That was because people would really die from it, because he had already decided to resign from his position as the general manager of Shuai's company. It was not that Gu Qi was afraid of trouble and had no sense of responsibility, but he was just an ordinary person. He was not afraid of trouble, but he was afraid of death. The so-called our collective disappearance was exactly what he wanted. However, it was beyond Gu Qi's expectations. The reactions of everyone in the company were almost exactly the same. There were very few people who made a second sound. What's there to discuss? If the boss wants to publish it, then publish it. That's right. It's just a report. It's reasonable and well-founded. Just publish it. What's the big deal? It's just a report. We'll just do whatever the boss says. So what if it's the god of war family? Can't we report it when it involves them? Is there such a logic in this world? It's the boss company. If the boss wants to publish it, what's there to discuss? It's unnecessary. Opinion? No opinion. Gu Qi was stunned. How could this be? This shouldn't be. Everyone, once this report is published, do you really know what our company will face? What's to not know? The content of the report sent by the boss is real and not fabricated. Of course, we have to publish it. What do we have to face? We'll face whatever we have to face. A battle of public opinion? Or the Wang family's revenge? Or something else? The boss will take care of everything. What are we afraid of? Publish it. I agree. I agree too. +1, +2, +10086. Out of the 35 people in the meeting room, only 3 of them did not express their approval. This included the general manager, Gu Qi. The other 32 people actually had an indifferent look on their faces. Gu Qi felt that he was about to faint. He really wanted to faint. He felt like he wasn't leading an employee, but a group of desperados. Were they all so unafraid of death? You guys don't understand the situation at all. This is a matter of life and death. Gu Qi hissed. Boss Gu, you're thinking too much. Don't we still have our boss? Even if we can't handle it, we can just change jobs. But if we don't do it, we'll lose our jobs now. It's so obvious. Can't you see it? Gu Qi was stunned. He began to doubt his life more and more. Am I thinking too much? Am I the one who doesn't understand? Where am I? What am I doing? Am I having a nightmare? On his right, the company CEO pushed his glasses and said calmly, Boss, you're thinking too much. Since our boss dares to do this, it's obvious that he's going against the Wang family. If our boss doesn't have a strong background, would he dare to do this? Maybe you're worried that the Wang family will take revenge on you after you do it, with our small arms and legs? Do you think you can escape unscathed if you don't do it? You're worried that the Wang family will kill you, but can our boss do the same to you? The CEO smiled faintly. If you can't even see through this, then you might as well let me be the general manager of this company. Ha ha ha. After joking, the CEO picked up the document and stood up. I'll make the arrangements now. Spread it out in all directions. This time, our company will probably have to fight a big battle again. Let's do it. The 30 or so people were stirred up and stood up at the same time. They even roared excitedly, their voices shaking the sky. Gu Qi was stunned. He realized that the CEO's words made a lot of sense. Yes, they were worried that the Wang family would kill them, but were they not worried that the big boss would kill them? Did the big boss not have this ability? He couldn't help but clench his teeth and make up his mind. Publish. Act immediately. Okay. With the release of this article by Zhuo Shuai's company, the internet immediately began to spread rapidly like a wildfire. On the other side, Zhuo Xiaoduo and Zhuo Xiaoyan returned to the Tower of Annihilation again. Inside, the five people looked at Zhuo Xiaoduo and Zhuo Xiaoyan with ashen faces. There wasn't even the slightest desire to live in their eyes. Their cultivation was sealed, their movements were restricted, and even their teeth were knocked out. Their lower jaws were dislocated, and they couldn't even bite their tongues to commit suicide. He had already explained everything that he could. He had even explained everything that he had experienced in his life clearly. The only thing they wanted was to die quickly. Zhuo Xiaoduo came in with a sullen face and said, "What are the names of the other group that went to Phoenix City?" "That's Group 3. The leader of Group 3 is called Green Sky Swordsman Gao Fengliang. He brought 4 brothers, Lu Jiashan, Hua Yunting, Wang Shiqi, Wang Shifang." Zhuo Xiaoduo sneered. "Green Sky Swordsman? Gao Fengliang? Damn it, this name is so ironic. Does he deserve it?" The 5 people stopped talking. So Xiaoduo asked them about their appearance, cultivation, martial arts, physique, weapons, tactics, and so on in detail. The more he understood, the more resentment he felt in his heart. The 5 people opposite them looked more and more relaxed and more sad. Their value had been squeezed out of them by Zhuo Xiaoduo. There was almost nothing left to squeeze. Then, they should be freed. The 5 of them swore that if there was a next life, they would never go against the little devil in front of them. They would never have anything to do with him. The degree of coldness of this guy's heart was far from being comparable to the rest of them. Time and time again, he cleaned up people from the inside out until there was not a single complete person left. Then, he repeated the cycle again and again, but from beginning to end, he was smiling wholeheartedly. Even his eyes did not show any fluctuations. That kind of indifference was even more indifferent than when he cleaned up a piece of pork. The smile that always hung on his lips made people's scalps tingle. So Xiaoduo thought for a while, and then took out the iron nail made of star iron from his arms and put it in front of the 5 people. "This is a hidden weapon. You should be familiar with it, right?" The 5 people looked at the iron nail carefully. It was hollow, barbed, and had tiny barbs all over. It was sharp, and cone-shaped. The 5 of them had a confused look on their faces. So Xiaoduo stared at the 5 people's faces and said slowly, "Tell me the origin of this iron nail, and I'll send you on your way." The implication was that if they didn't explain it clearly, they would continue to play. The 5 of them shuddered as they racked their brains and began to rummage through their memories. This iron nail vaguely seemed to have some impression. There was confusion and uncertainty in the eyes of the leader. He said, "This iron nail, is it silent? Can it be avoided by following the sound of a golden blade cutting through the wind?" So Xiaoduo was stunned. This iron nail was hollow. How could it be silent? It didn't make sense. He picked up the iron nail and threw it out. As the iron nail was thrown, there was a shrill sound. It made people who heard it feel as if they were about to be shaken. So Xiaoduo turned his hand and grabbed the iron nail. He played with the iron nail and studied it carefully for a while. Then he threw it out in a different way. He was surprised to find that it was really silent. The hollow part of the structure exerted a kind of rotational force, which perfectly eliminated the sound of the wind caused by breaking through the air. It was completely silent. It can be loud, which can shake people's hearts and souls. It can also be silent, which can catch the enemy off guard and make it impossible to guard against. So Xiaoduo looked at this special hollow design again and again, and he had an inexplicable feeling of enlightenment. It turned out that there was so much knowledge and research about the structure of hidden weapons. I might be able to, but Xiaoduo immediately dispelled this thought. His starry sky, eternal stones hexagram had a unique quality. Not to mention making a hollow and designing it exquisitely, it would be difficult to even change it slightly. It was better not to think about it, not to think about it. I seem to have seen this hidden weapon once before, but it didn't come from anyone in our Wang clan. Instead, it was used by one of the mysterious people. At that time, it should be one of the consecrated members of the imperial family who suddenly sensed something, but we don't know the exact reason. Later, this consecrator was killed, and when we went there, the consecrator was already dead. At that time, this consecrator had such an iron nail on his body. But at that time, we didn't check it carefully, so we were sent out to guard. When we dealt with the body later, the iron nail was gone. Zhuo frowned. Mysterious people. Yes, mysterious people. They are. The group of people we mentioned before who had a secret meeting with a woman. That group of people's whereabouts are the most mysterious. They come and go without a trace. We don't know their identity, background, or who they are. And every time they met with the head of the family and several elders. They didn't see any outsiders at all. Every time they met, the time was very short. And every time they met, the security was very tight. Zhuo Xiaoduo's eyes suddenly revealed a gloomy and sharp look. He lowered his voice and asked, "Are they people from the astral souls continent?" The 5 people shook their heads gently. "We can't be sure, but we can't be sure either." Understood. Zhuo Xiaoduo raised his head, thought for a moment, and said, "Do you want to have an afterlife?" The 5 people's eyes flashed with sadness. Was he going to send them on their way? The leader said in a hoarse voice, "We are not chess players, not even pawns. We are just the periphery. Even if there is an afterlife, in the end, we are just another person's tools. This world is too tiring and too difficult. We have lived for so long, but when we think about it carefully, we don't know who we are living for. The world is too complicated. This old man doesn't want to come back." The other 4 people were silent. They nodded one after another, tears welling up in their eyes. At the moment of real death, the experiences of their lives flashed before their eyes like flickering lights and passing shadows. They sighed deeply. It was just as their boss said. The world was too complicated. This time, they didn't want to come back. It was too difficult, too tiring, too bitter, too helpless. So Xiaoduo smiled faintly. "Okay, see you never." A pair of sledgehammers appeared in his hands. "Let's go." Black and white suddenly flashed. Let's collect some insignificant interest first. Chapter 11-12. 0.5 corpses were thrown out of the spatial extermination tower at the foot of the mountain. In the spiritual space, Bai and Jiu were shaking their heads and wagging their tails, wiping their mouths in satisfaction. After devouring the 3 souls and 7 spirits of 5 Skysoar realm experts, the 2 of them were in high spirits, greatly increasing their foundation. It's a pity for these 5 people. Zhuo Xiaoyan sighed softly. What's there to pity? Zhuo Xiaoduo smiled faintly. These people, their deaths are not worth pitying. Don't judge them by how they seem to have an epiphany in the end. Their actions have already determined that there's no turning back. Because they're adopted children, there's no turning back from the beginning, and they can't escape. There are only 2 paths for them to return to. The first is to die in battle for this clan, and the second is to die of old age in this clan. They can't be considered human anymore. They can only be considered tools. So Xiaoduo took a deep breath and said, "The good thing now is that the situation is relatively clear. We can already confirm who our enemies are. The Wang clan, the 2nd prince, and the 3rd prince of the Huangfu clan. But with just our strength, we can't deal with the Wang clan." So Xiaoduo was still very clear-headed on this point. "Yes, it's almost midnight outside now." So Xiaoduo said, "The Wang clan can't run away. Let's cultivate first, sharpening 1 spear before the battle. Even if it's not fast, it's still bright. Moreover, we have such a huge time advantage. It won't be too late to cultivate for half a year before going out." "Okay." Zhuo Xiaoyan nodded in agreement. Just as Xiaoduo said, if the 2 of them showed up in Shangjing City now, they would undoubtedly be too obvious a target. How could they not be vigilant when the 5 Skysoars belonging to the other party disappeared? How could they not send stronger people? How could a clan with 10,000 years of history not have stronger experts? But what if Zhuo Xiaoduo and Zhuo Xiaoyan disappear at this time? In a void-destroying tower, Zhuo Xiaoduo and Zhuo Xiaoyan were focused on their cultivation. It was the first time in history that they were fully focused on their cultivation. They ate all kinds of natural treasures, as well as top-grade astral souls jade. As for the precious laurel honey, the two of them would share a drop every few days. He didn't use any of those low-end materials. He couldn't be bothered to look at them. Right now, he didn't need to think about how to distribute them properly or how to advance in an orderly manner. He only needed to raise his cultivation to the greatest extent possible. If it weren't for the fact that only one drop of Jiuxiao spirit water could be consumed per realm, Zhuo would have already taken it out to drink. Zhuo Xiaoyan felt a little heartache as she ate. What kind of family would eat like that? This was too extravagant. Did his family own a mine? On the contrary, Zhuo, who had always been stingy, showed a rare generosity this time. Eat. Eat them all. If we can't take revenge this time, we probably won't be able to use these things. Don't tell me you're keeping it for someone else. If we can't take revenge, these things might become the Wang family's. By the way, if you really can't take it anymore, remember to tell me. We must destroy all the storage equipment in our hands. We can't let our enemies take advantage of them. Do you remember? Zhuo calculated the time. Together with Zhuo Xiaoyan, they had been cultivating to the limit in the void-destroying tower for a total of 9 months. During these 9 months, the two of them would either spar for a few days in a row, or they would practice separately for a few days in a row, making progress on their own. Or they would meditate together, sharing what they lacked. Or they would combine their true qi, and the two of them would converge their true qi into one, and the two of them would combine their true qi to increase each other's yin and yang attributes. Zhuo was really crazy this time. Zhuo Xiaoyan saw everything clearly. This unforeseen event really stimulated Zhuo. It was engraved in her heart, and she would never forget it. Because, for such a long time, Zhuo didn't make her happy or take advantage of her with a cheeky smile that in the first 10 days, Zhuo Xiaoyan felt quite at ease. Doggy has grown up and become more mature. In the past month, Zhuo Xiaoyan gradually felt lonely. She always felt that something was missing in her life, that when 3 months had passed, Zhuo Xiaoyan finally started to worry. She even felt a little resentful. Why isn't Doggy taking advantage of me? She was extremely uncomfortable in this state. Could it be that, like in the novels, distance makes the heart grow fonder? She was with Doggy all the time, but he was no longer attracted to her. It had only been a few days, and he was already like this? Not to mention the 7-year itch. She didn't expect that she, who was still in the prime of her youth, couldn't keep her man's heart? Slowly, her resentment turned into anger, and the atmosphere turned into anger. Doggy actually didn't take advantage of me. As a result, that on this day of sparring, Zhuo Xiaoyan unleashed the full power of his origin Xian Pi cultivation that he had suppressed for almost 50 times, beating Zhuo Xiao ruthlessly for the first time. No matter how hard Zhuo Xiao fought, in the face of Zhuo Xiaoyan's wrath, not only did he beat this brat until he was rolling on the ground, he even froze him into an ice sculpture as he begged for mercy. After a long while, Zhuo Xiao broke out of the ice sculpture, trembling. His whole body was wet, and his eyes were full of confusion as he looked at Zhuo Xiaoyan, who was practicing her swordsmanship with a cold face and didn't say a word for a long time. What's wrong? Zhuo Xiao felt wronged. I didn't do anything recently. Why did she suddenly become so violent? Why is this? Zhuo Xiaoyan continued to practice with a cold face. This Doggy is also a straight man. He doesn't usually act like it. After such a long time of practice, Zhuo Xiao had pushed his cultivation to the peak of the mysterious realm and suppressed it for 13 times. But combined with his previous experience of compression, the Jiuxiao spirit water, and the laurel honey, there was still a lot of space in his dantian to compress. But Zhuo Xiao was still very clear. Although Zhuo Xiaoyan was also in the Gui Xian realm, her foundation was not below his at all. If Sister Xiaoyan, who had entered the path of cultivation before him, went all out, he really couldn't beat her. There was nothing he could do, especially when Zhuo Xiaoyan had already fully grasped the inheritance of the Moon Lord. When she used the lunar cold light sword, even if Zhuo Xiao used all his strength and took out his 99 cat hammer, and even with the help of Bai and Jiu, he was still mercilessly suppressed. Yes, from the beginning, he was suppressed to the point where he had to abandon his armor, and then he was defeated. Finally, he was pressed down, beaten up, and frozen into a block of ice. Zhuoxiaoduo was very depressed. He always felt that he had enough adventures, but when he thought about it, it seemed that Nian Nian's adventures were not much worse than his. The two of them seemed to have fallen into a strange cycle. Zhuoxiaoduo had many fortuitous encounters, and his cultivation progress was far beyond the knowledge of ordinary people. The biggest hope in his heart was to catch up with and surpass Zhuoxiaonian and truly win her heart. However, Zhuoxiaonian was also working hard on his cultivation. He also had many fortuitous encounters, and his cultivation speed was also increasing by leaps and bounds. Her goal was to prevent Zhuoxiaonian from catching up to her, and to maintain her authority and status. Even if we get married in the future, I will still have the final say in this family. If the dog doesn't accept it, I will beat him until he accepts it. This was the deep-rooted obsession in Zhuoxiaonian's self-awareness. I have suppressed it 13 times now. If I want to beat Nian Nian, looking at my current progress, I estimate that I will have to suppress it at least 40 times to reach Nian Nian's current level. As for Nian Nian now, she should be on the verge of breaking through the bottleneck, where she has received guidance from an expert to increase the number of times she suppresses her cultivation. Now, with Nian Nian's cultivation, she will have to suppress it at least 47 or 48 times. This means that the advantage I have over Nian Nian is that I am at the peak of the profound returning realm. After all, 40 times for me is equivalent to 47 or 50 times for her. But this is the suppression of a high level of the profound returning realm. It can't be reversed. The most annoying thing is that I have received the inheritance of Zhu Wu, fire god Zhu Rong. This is an inheritance that no one in the Umno Alliance has received. But Sister Nian also received the inheritance of the Moon Lord, which is the coldest attribute. Not only does it oppose me, but because of the difference in cultivation level, she has completely suppressed me. I can't really go all out against her. Sigh. The more Zhuoxiaoduo thought about it, the more depressed he felt. Based on the current situation, even if he reached the fairy realm, he might not be able to defeat Zhuoxiaonian. For example, if the suppression at the origin core realm was like a sesame seed, then the suppression at the peak of the profound returning realm was like a watermelon. The higher one's cultivation level was, the more profound it was. When Zhuoxiaonian had reached the transformation cloud realm, Zhuoxiaoduo had yet to reach the inner core realm, which was several levels higher than him. Now that both of them were at the Gui Xian realm, it seemed like Zhuoxiaoduo had caught up, but in reality, the gap between the two of them was still very big. A small river was a realm, and so was an ocean. But it would be unfair to use the realm of the ocean to evaluate them. The Pacific Ocean and the Arctic Ocean were both known as oceans. It could be said that the Pacific Ocean and the Arctic Ocean were of the same level. But who didn't know the difference between the two? To the outside world, 9 months in the Tower of Annihilation was only 2 days and 3 nights. Zhuoxiaoduo and Zhuoxiaonian had come out of seclusion. Zhuoxiaoduo had thought it over and over again to choose this time. If they had gone missing for 2 more days, the Wang family would have attacked the people of Phoenix City to force them to show themselves. Zhuoxiaoduo did not dare to overestimate the Wang family's bottom line. If they had gone missing for 2 more days, it would have been meaningless. During these 2.5 days of concealment, Zhuoxiaoduo wanted to draw all the attention of the Wang family to himself and his younger brother. First, he wanted to determine the winner and loser between the two of them, the survival of the fittest. But what Zhuoxiaoduo didn't know, or perhaps what he didn't expect, was that during the 2 days he was hiding and cultivating, the internet had already exploded, and it was an uncontrollable explosion. The entire continent of astral souls was in an uproar because of it. A well-respected old principal had his grave dug up by some people with ulterior motives. Such an explosive topic instantly became the talk of the nation. Zhuoxiao's company went all out. The whole company was in an unprecedented state of battle. All kinds of materials and dry goods were constantly thrown in. Yu's life story was sorted out and posted on the internet one by one. Her life's contributions to Phoenix City No. 2 High School, as well as the memories of the students of Phoenix City No. 2 High School from all over the world. After all the students of Phoenix City No. 2 High School received the news, they were so angry that their hearts were about to explode. Many officers who serve in the Army even asked for leave to come back for revenge. Of course, such leave would not be granted, but it did not stop many people from sneaking out. It was inevitable that they would be caught by the military law team and punished. Sneaking out from a battlefield had always been a crime punishable by death. There was no reason or motive. However, after a few high-ranking generals heard the reason, they issued an order to stop the death penalty and turn it into confinement. Everyone was confined for a few hours. At the same time, a topic on the internet quickly became a hot topic. If your most respected teacher's grave was dug up, what would you do? What would you do if someone dug up the grave of your teacher, whom you regard as your second parent, who is as heavy as a mountain? This article instantly attracted the attention of the people who were watching from the sidelines. Everyone had the same thought, and their hearts shared the same reasoning. How could they not say anything? When they put themselves in their shoes, they suddenly felt that they could not stand it. For a time, the internet was filled with heated discussions. On the other hand, Jing reacted quickly. Countless posts sprung up like bamboo shoots after the rain and the Yangtze River out of the dam. They began to wash the ground and deny in every possible way. Where's the evidence? You want to slander the war god family with just a few empty words? Making the war god family bleed and cry. Where's the justice? Is there such an easy thing? You could just casually dig up a grave and frame the war god family? Hee hee. The war god has protected the mainland for thousands of years. Now, there's actually a scoundrel who is so clumsy to frame the war god family. It's so ridiculous. Where's the evidence? Where's the evidence? The internet trolls nowadays are getting bolder and bolder. They're getting more and more outrageous. They dare to say anything, just to ride on the hype. They can even ignore the achievements of the mainland's heroes and turn a deaf ear to it. At the same time, the Wang family took further action. They attacked from all aspects, used all kinds of forces, and used all kinds of methods to suppress Zhuo Shuai Company. There were even various actions from the real world. For example, the actions of the functional departments and related departments. Then, the most bizarre and inconceivable situation appeared. In the face of the Wang family's all-out counterattack, the previously unknown Zhuo Shuai Company, which had been established for less than 2 years, was as stable as an old dog. It was like a mainstay, standing firm and unmoving. It continued to create public opinion for a long time. Countless topics appeared like the pouring of the Milky Way, and once started, it could not be stopped. All the functional departments should have been able to deal with this company that seemed to have no foundation. However, in reality, it was like a mayfly trying to shake a tree. They could not stop it. In the eyes of the Wang family, this result was inconceivable. They were truly shocked. There was actually such a thing in the world. Was this a joke? Everyone was stunned. Facing such a private company, shouldn't it collapse with a single blow? No matter how rich they were, but for this, someone from the Wang family went to the top department leaders. They went to complain. Why can't anyone deal with this matter? My family has been slandered like this. Now, the internet is in an uproar. The culprit is Zhuo Shuai Company. Why doesn't anyone touch them? Who is their protective umbrella? Who allowed them to stand outside the law? A company that inverts black and white and slanders a hero family actually has such a strong protective umbrella? Where is the dignity of the law? The reply was like this. The higher-ups have repeatedly emphasized that justice is in the hearts of the people. How can black and white not be clear? We believe in the Wang family's innocence. We also believe that the Wang family can prove their innocence. If the rumors are slandered, there will be a day when the truth is out. It's not that Zhuo Shuai Company has a protective umbrella, but this matter needs to be resolved in a fair and just way. After all, this society is still particular about fairness. Hearing such a reply, the Wang family was so angry that they almost fainted. Fairness? You want me, a meritorious family, the god of war, to talk about fairness with a small company? That can't be, Minister. This is too. There's no other way. Brother Wong, don't make things difficult for me. But this fairness is really unfair to my family. My family's ancestor and the emperor are both. Cough. Speaking of the minister is also paying attention to this matter. What did the minister say? The minister personally said that he believes that the Wong family is innocent. He believes that the Wong family can prove their innocence. If the rumors are slandered, there will be a day when the truth is out. Prove their innocence. The minister said so. Justice is in the hearts of the people. How can black and white not be clear? This sentence was said by the emperor. The left and right heavenly kings said that Zhuo Shui Company has always been a politically correct company. The Wong family member was struck by lightning. His eyes almost popped out. A politically correct company? The left and right heavenly kings have directly decided? How unfair is this to our Wong family? The left and right heavenly kings have never decided on this public opinion battle. They also believe that the Wong family can prove their innocence. The higher-ups patiently explained, they only decided on Zhuo Shui Company's political line. Was there a difference? If this wasn't blatant favoritism, then what was? The Wong family became more and more confused. The Southern Marshal also said that he hopes that this matter will start and end on the internet. The other party said vaguely. What he meant was that the big shots were all paying attention. The Wong family shouldn't go overboard. We are all working hard to maintain fairness. But this Wong family member was already confused. What did he mean by the Wong family shouldn't go overboard? You're the ones who are going overboard, okay? Isn't this bullying? What did he mean by you are all working hard to maintain fairness? You are all working hard to suppress my family. This is true. What does the Southern Marshal mean? The meaning is so clear. The Wong family is not allowed to use force in this matter. We can only use conventional means and public opinion tactics to solve this matter. If we use additional forces, there may be additional forces to stop us. This all depends on the Wong family's decision. There are also Dongfang, Shimin, Beigong, and the other marshals. They all said that they believe that the Wong family is innocent and that the Wong family can prove their innocence. If someone continues to use unconventional methods in this battle of public opinion, they will intervene. Intervene? How? This is not something that we can know. This is not fair at all. Justice is in people's hearts. How is it unfair? This is discrimination against the Wong family. You're thinking too much. How can there be discrimination between black and white? We are a meritorious family. How can we be compared to a small company? Yes, the Wong family is a meritorious family. Why should we make things difficult for a small company? It is enough to prove our innocence. Besides, if a prince breaks the law, he will be punished like a commoner. Does the Wong family want special privileges? Our Wong family wants special privileges. This sentence naturally couldn't be said clearly, but he was so angry that his lungs were about to swell. This matter developed so strangely that it was really unimaginable. I'm not convinced. I want to see His Majesty. His Majesty said that if the Wong family has any dissatisfaction, you can speak to the Emperor. After all, you're family friends. As an outsider, His Majesty shouldn't intervene in this matter. Family friends? Yes, don't the War God family and the Emperor's family friends. What he meant was that they had such a strong relationship, but they didn't go to find him. Instead, they came to make things difficult for him. The Wong family members felt that they had suffered internal injuries that were difficult to heal. They wanted to acknowledge this family friend, but he didn't. Now, where could they go to find a family friend? Besides, even if they could, they didn't dare to. Those who went to find the emperor had to be the family head or the ancestor, but everyone knew that no matter who it was, they couldn't hide a secret from the emperor. Even if they found him, the emperor would look at them and say, "Damn, it's your Wong family's fault. How dare you ask me to uphold justice?" That would only cause the Wong family to be finished faster. When they returned to the Wong family, the higher-ups of the family discussed. Everyone's face was full of worry and disbelief. How could this be? How could it be defined as an online war of words? How could this be? Then, The pavilion master of the Nine Heavens Pavilion asked to see the Wang family head. The family head had to come out personally. The person who came was a top figure in Shangjing. The Wang family was now in a precarious situation and couldn't be offended. The people sent by the Wang family are all here. The pavilion master gave out a spatial ring and said earnestly, "It's just an online dispute. There's no need to assassinate, right? This has caused a lot of difficulty in the work of various places. The shield representatives of various places are very dissatisfied. Now that the world is peaceful, why did you send out so many assassins? We all believe that the Wang family is innocent, and we also believe that the Wang family can prove its innocence. Justice is in the hearts of the people. Wang family head, don't do such things in the future. I'm almost forced to go to Fenghai because of you. Please be considerate of the people working below. Hehe goodbye." Yes, Wang family head, as a meritorious family, you have to create a fair environment for this society. In a harmonious society, everyone has a responsibility. Don't fight and kill for no reason. Especially meritorious families, you have to set an example. The pavilion master didn't say much and left after sitting for a few minutes. The Wang family members were silent for a long time before opening the spatial ring. Unsurprisingly, there were more than 1,700 heads inside. These people were naturally the assassins sent to assassinate Zhou Shuai's company, some of the Wang family members, and the 30 people sent to Phoenix City, as well as a branch of the entire Phoenix City. Everyone's heads were here, neatly arranged. Not a single one was missing. Now, the heads were back, but the bodies were nowhere to be found. According to the words of the pavilion master of the Nine Heavens Pavilion, fallen leaves will eventually return to their roots. Chapter 11:13. What the fuck are you talking about? The head of the Wang clan almost fainted on the spot. Is this what you mean by returning to the roots? Killing all of them and only sending their heads back? Is this what you mean by returning to the roots? The last words of the pavilion master before he left were very clear. We firmly support fairness and punish lawlessness. If someone from the Zhou Shuai company comes here to kill your Wang clan, we will kill them without mercy. Justice is in people's hearts. Right or wrong is not determined by strength. The head of the Wang clan smashed the study room. How can you have the nerve to say that? Zhou Shuai company's people come to assassinate us? Do they dare? Do they have the strength? They won't even come. But our Wang clan can only swallow this grievance? It's too humiliating. What do you mean by the various departments are dissatisfied? How can the various departments deal with the assassins of the Wang clan? Is this a joke? Justice is in people's hearts. Right or wrong is not determined by strength. We clearly have the strength to run rampant in the world, but you forced us to fight a war of words with an ordinary troll company. What's the use of strength then? But the situation told the Wang clan one thing. You can only deal with it like this. Those who went to assassinate, bribe, poach. There was not a single exception, and all of them had returned with their heads. Even those who were on the way were all killed. Not a single fish escaped the net. This was a feeling of being betrayed at the slightest sound, causing the entire Wang clan to feel uneasy. Because of this, the Wang clan immediately called for an emergency meeting. This is not a good sign, no, it's too bad. The head of the Wang clan directly put a cup of life origin water in his hand, ready to drink it at any time. When he came back to report, he was really shocked by the attitude of the higher-ups. Under the surging of his blood, he almost suffered internal injuries. The minister's attitude should be because he discovered something after coming to the ancestral Dragon Martial Arts Festival. He only targeted the 4 clans, not because he didn't discover anything, but because he left some leeway. But you just want to be lucky. The head of the Wang clan, Wang Han, frowned and looked at the white-haired old man sitting in the room. Third brother's wife. Didn't I tell you not to covet the spots of the ancestral Dragon Martial Arts Festival? But what did you do? What about now? Didn't everything start from there? The old man lowered his head and didn't say anything. There was no way to explain it. That was because, although he looked old, he was actually the family head's great-grandson. There were 2 Wang clans in the capital. However, apart from the senior executives of Shangjing, very few people knew that the two Wangs were actually one family. 300 years ago, two brothers were fighting for the head of the family. The one who lost left home in anger and created a powerful Wang family that could call the wind and summon the rain. However, it was also the one who left the house in anger. Before he died, he requested to return to the family, so that the two families would secretly merge into one. This was the benefit of strength. As long as you had enough strength, the rules would naturally compromise for you. Of course, on the surface, there were still two Wang clans. This was more in line with the law of aristocratic families not putting all their eggs in one basket. As for the Wang family that was causing trouble in the ancestral dragon martial arts festival, it was led by another Wang family disciple. However, this was not the main point, so there was no need to go into detail here. Others may not know the true relationship between the two Wang clans, but how could the minister not know? The last time the minister came to the ancestral dragon martial arts festival, he personally investigated the matter of Qin Fangyang. He dealt with 4 clans in a row with thunderous methods. It seemed that the laws were strict and ruthless. However, anyone with a discerning eye would know that the matter was hastily settled. The head of the Wang clan, Wang Han, said, "After that day, I said that the minister must have found out about you and confirmed that the Wang clan was involved. But in order to save some face for our ancestors, he restrained himself and stopped at the last minute." But Minister Chu Yang's position on this matter had changed from the moment he left the ancestral dragon. He no longer had the slightest inclination in his opinion. In other words, although the minister left some leeway for the Wang clan, at the same time, we lost our biggest backer. We lost it forever. The Wang clan's clan lord, Wang Han, sighed deeply and said, "From the words of the minister, it is clear that he believes that your Wang clan is innocent. He believes that your Wang clan can prove your innocence." What does that mean? It means that he will no longer care whether the Wang clan is dead or alive. The Wang clan will have to rely on themselves in the future. Moreover, they have to prove their innocence through normal means. All crooked methods and all kinds of tricks are forbidden. If they are used, they will be met with a backlash. If they are used, they will be digging their own graves. He sighed in exasperation. Look at what you've done. You can see the consequences now, right? You've squandered the glory and power of our ancestors with such a trivial matter as the Ancestor Dragon Galu martial art competition. Everyone from the Wang family present glared at the old man. That old man could no longer remain calm. This accusation was too big, and he could not bear it. He hurriedly said, "It may not be because of the ancestral dragon martial arts festival." The minister said with certainty that Qin Fangyang is his good friend. Wang Han's eyes emitted a cold light. "Did you not participate in the erasing of Qin Fangyang's traces?" That old man, Wang Ping, said, "The minister sees the human heart. What is there to hide from? But Qin Fangyang really wasn't killed by us." Perhaps the minister understood this matter and withdrew himself from it. The matter of dragons snatching over veins has been going on for a long time. It's already an unwritten rule. Bringing it up now is just a pretext. Qin Fangyang is the key. In other words, Qin Fangyang was killed by the Wang clan, not by the Wang clan. One had to admit that Wang Ping's words were not wrong. If Qin Fangyang did not die and successfully obtain the ancestral dragon martial arts festival, even if there was only one, none of these things would have happened. The ancestral dragon martial arts festival could still continue, and it could still be an unwritten rule. Qin Fangyang was indeed the main point. Smack! Wang Han slammed the table and glared, impudent. Instantly, the atmosphere in the meeting room became agitated. If you did not act rashly at the ancestral dragon martial arts festival, would the minister have noticed? Yes, would the minister have come to the Wang clan alone to investigate the case? In the end, wasn't it you who attracted the minister's attention? Duh. After a round of indiscriminate bombardment, Wang Ping panted heavily, but did not say a word. Let's get down to business. Is there any meaning in pursuing the cause and effect now? Wang Han knocked on the table, and everyone finally stopped. Now, the minister has already made his stance clear. I believe the Emperor will not have any objections. Look at the left and right heavenly king's stances one after another, and the four great marshals support. What does this mean? Wang Han's gaze was cold as he said, "This means that the higher-ups have already confirmed and reached a consensus that this matter was done by us. But due to the glory of our ancestors, they cannot touch our clan. So, on one hand, they are suppressing us, and on the other hand, they are supporting the other party, resulting in the current confrontation. In other words, the Wang clan is now standing opposite all the higher-ups. This can be confirmed now. Even if we can win this battle of public opinion, our position in the minister's heart is destined to be irretrievable. All the people sent out, without exception, were killed. This stance could not be more obvious. It is true that the Nine Heavens Pavilion has a high position and power, but without the permission of the higher-ups, they would not be so ruthless." Wang Han heaved a long sigh. "This is the situation now. What should we do in the aftermath of this matter? Everyone, let's discuss and work together to get through this difficult time." Everyone was silent. The fact that the pavilion master of the Nine Heavens Pavilion had personally come forward to deliver the heads had already explained many problems. Wang Ping raised his head. His white hair reflected the white light, making it appear even whiter. He said in a low voice, "Clan Master, now that this matter has come to this, we can all foresee what will happen in the future. I believe that there must be a reason for killing Qin Fanyang. Since there is a reason and purpose, killing him is no big deal. There is no need to regret it. But why dig up He Yuanyue's grave? I really want to understand. After this matter was done, there was still such clear evidence left behind. Even if the higher-ups did not intervene, it would still cause a huge uproar. I believe that everyone with brains knows this. Clan Master, you must know this better than us. After all, the Clan Master is the one at the helm. So, why did you still do this and make such a choice?" Wang Han's face slowly darkened. He said coldly, "First, I want to tell you that Qin Fanyang was not killed by us." Wang Ping's lips curled into a cold smile. "And second, He Yuanyue's grave was also not dug up by us." Wang Han said word by word, "Do you understand? This is my answer. Do you need me to repeat it again?" "Understood. These are not done by our clan." Wang Ping nodded. "But I'm not talking about this. I want to ask, why did you do it? Since you knew the consequences, why did you still do it?" Wang Han almost fainted from anger. How many times had he said it? This got out, however, Wang Han suddenly realized that it was not only Wang Ping. There were actually a few people in the clan looking over curiously. Obviously, they were very interested in the answer to this question. Another one asked straightforwardly, "That's right, Clan Master. Since you knew that the consequences could be very serious, why did you still do it?" Damn it, this topic could not be avoided. The reason is very simple. I think there was a reason why we had to do it. Doing so would affect the future of the Wang clan. Wang Han said indifferently, "Since you all have doubts, then I will explain this once, and only this once." Chapter 11:14. The head of the Wang clan, Wang Han, sighed deeply. The Wang clan has been under the protection of the heavenly king, Fei Hong, for so many years. But now, the Wang clan has fallen into an awkward situation. Or rather, it has been like this since hundreds or thousands of years ago. The Wang clan is declining day by day. You should all be able to see this. This is an undeniable reality. The reason is that in the past 10,000 years, no expert has appeared in the Wang clan. Perhaps in the past, the Wang clan had nothing to worry about due to the contributions of our ancestors. But as time passes, the glory of our ancestors and the kindness of our ancestors become fainter and fainter. Now, many people have even forgotten the existence of our ancestors and the sacrifices he made. They have forgotten that this continent was fought for by our ancestors with their lives. In so many years, our Wang clan has firmly held the position of the #1 clan. But now we are slowly declining, and we don't even dare to fight for it. Why? The reason is that we can't win. As for the Yu clan, they didn't even need to fight for it. They naturally became the #1 clan. Because the emperor is here, because the heavenly king of the right is here. Even if our Wong clan still has the foundation and strength of the number one clan, do we dare to fight with the Yu clan? The answer is obvious. We don't dare. Why? Because our Wong clan doesn't have a top expert. We don't have any deterrents. Do you understand? From what happened today, all of you should have felt it. If our Wong clan had a heavenly king or even a marshal, would there be such a situation where everyone pushed the wall when it was down? No. The head of the Wong clan said firmly. Everyone in the Wong clan nodded silently. Why didn't the emperor ask about it? Why did he stay out of it and allow so many people to deal with our Wong clan? If my ancestor were still alive, would the emperor throne have the same attitude as he does right now? Everyone knows the answer, right? Everyone in the Wong clan nodded. It's still the same. After our ancestors, our descendants failed to live up to our expectations. We didn't make the Wong clan produce a peerless expert. Right now, the Wong family's predicament seems to be extremely bad, but it's very simple to resolve. We only need to send out a heavenly king. We don't even need to send out a heavenly king. A martial-level expert is enough. Even if they aren't capable enough and don't have a commander talent, having a sword monarch or saber demon would be enough. However, our Wong clan has never had such a top-notch expert. As new meritorious clans continue to rise, our Wong clan will only continue to decline until we become obscure and completely withdraw from the ranks of the top clans in Shangjing. There are frequent wars on the continent, and new heroes and clans are constantly emerging. This is no longer something that can be predicted, but a fact, a reality. Those who do not plan for the overall situation will not be able to plan for a region. Those who do not plan for all ages will not be able to plan for a moment. In the future, the rise and fall of the old and the rise and fall of the new is the most important matter for the Wong family. If they couldn't compete, how could they support such a large family business? But other families have marshals, generals, and legends. What do we have? Everyone else is still alive and kicking, high and mighty. What does our family have? Wang Han asked everyone. Everyone lowered their heads and remained silent. If we don't think of a way, will the future Wong clan rely on continuously selling off the family property of our ancestors to survive? Even if that's the case, how long can it last? A clan can either prosper forever, but as soon as there is a trace of decline, it will immediately become the target of public criticism and become the target of hungry wolves from all sides. It's impossible that you don't know this, right? And my plan is to have the Wong clan give birth to a peerless expert with a 100% probability. As long as it succeeds, even the level of a heavenly king is the bottom line. Perhaps an existence that surpasses the minister. As long as it succeeds, our Wong clan is bound to prosper for tens of thousands of years, or even forever. Wang Han's eyes swept across everyone like a sharp sword. Based on this premise, what can be done? As long as it succeeds, what's the harm in reputation? Not to mention that the history books will only be written by the victors. Everyone continued to remain silent. Obviously, they were shocked by the clan head's words. The level of the heavenly king was already considered low. Perhaps an existence that surpasses the minister. These words shocked everyone to the point that their minds were a little buzzing. So what the clan head had been planning all this time was actually such a big matter. Clan head, may we ask what exactly are you planning? An old man asked in a low voice. No, you don't need to know. You just need to cooperate. Wang Han said stiffly. This matter must be kept absolutely secret. Then, clan head, are you confident? Several people asked at the same time. Of course I'm confident. I have a full 90% confidence. Wang Han said solemnly. The last 10% will have to depend on heaven's will. Manpower has already reached the limit. As soon as these words came out, the entire conference room immediately became lively. Everyone vaguely knew that the clan head had been secretly doing something for many years. However, the clan head had always been reliable. The entire Wong clan had always admired him, so they didn't want to delve deeper. Especially since he said so, it meant that he was definitely confident. 90% confidence 10% chance of heaven's will. What was the difference between this and 90% certainty? We have no objections. We look forward to the clan head's good news. Everyone said in unison. In order for this matter to succeed, I guess everyone will have to bear some grievances in the process. We might even have to pay some price. Wang Han said softly, but I can tell you very clearly, as long as this matter succeeds, even if we have to sacrifice half of the Wang clan, or more than half of the clan, it will be worth it. Understood. Now is the battle of public opinion. Let the push hand team take action. All the Wang clans, enterprises, and related units, move out. We will do our best to prove our innocence. Let's have a fair battle of public opinion. Even if we can't completely defeat them, we must ensure that we don't fall into a complete disadvantage. It can't be one-sided. Yes, clan head. Meeting adjourned. There's one more thing, clan head. Right now, UNUS students are constantly rushing to Shangjing from all over the world, threatening to cause trouble for our clan and take revenge. These people, how should we deal with them? Wang Han frowned and said, have the 5 people from the operation team who went to Phoenix City returned. They're already on their way. Make sure that these 5 people are not caught. The material evidence will be used against them. There can't be any more witnesses. Yes. As for those people, persuade them nicely and treat them with respect. You must understand that our Wang clan did not kill Qin Fangyang, nor did we dig up his grave. Our Wang clan is innocent. Do you understand? We are proving our innocence. Before the truth is revealed, we are innocent. It's just that we are in a place of suspicion. That's all. Understood. However, if the other party is too agitated and kills us, limited self-defense is to do your best to subdue them and send them to the law department in Shangjing for punishment. Wang Han said calmly, there are still laws in this world. Clan head, you are wise. Remember to always show that our Wang clan is innocent and has been wronged. We are innocent. Understood. Go. Yes. That as soon as Xiaoduo and Zhuo Xiaoyan appeared, they quickly felt that they were being watched. Especially after they returned to Shangjing, they felt that countless divine thoughts were connected to them. However, the 2 of them did not care at all. Come on. As long as the 2 of us are together, Little Duo has the spatial extermination pagoda. As long as we don't encounter existences like Elder Wan and Elder Shui, no matter how ferocious the surprise attack is, no matter how heavy the attack is or how fatal it is, we can hide in the spatial extermination pagoda. As long as their heads did not fall off, they could use the Heavenman Stone to save their lives. Therefore, although Xiaoduo saw the Wang clan as a strong enemy and knew that their strength was definitely not a match for the Wang clan's tens of thousands of years of accumulation, he was still very calm and calm. Even if the worst situation was to happen, even if a Heavenly King Realm expert wanted to take the 2 of them down, with their powerful half-step Skyser cultivation, they would be able to buy half a breath's worth of time. And half a breath's worth of time was enough for them to enter the spatial extermination pagoda. Zhuo Xiaoduo's divine soul was tightly locked on the spatial extermination pagoda. His big hand held Zhuo Xiaoyan's small hand as they strolled around the streets of Shangjing, just like before. Zhuo Xiaoduo held Zhuo Xiaoyan's small hand. He felt that the small hand was soft and smooth, slender and soft, as if it was boneless. Although he did not have any other thoughts in his heart, his mouth could not help but split open, laughing with satisfaction and arrogance. Yes, let's take my cat for a walk. Zhuo Xiaoyan's face was as cold as ice, but she did not struggle. She let Zhuo Xiaoduo hold her hand as they strolled through the crowd. Only the bottom of her heart was a little annoyed. This little dog is too insensible. Why is he holding my hand so tightly? Doesn't he know that this young lady is holding his hand? Forget it. Today this young lady will take it as walking my dog. The 2 of them held each other's small hand, walking the cat and the dog in their hearts. Everyone's heart was filled with joy. The crowd in front of them parted. Someone was heading straight towards them. Their target was very clear. Zhuo Xiaoduo used a little strength in his hand to signal to Zhuo Xiaoyan. Coming. Zhuo Xiaoyan also tightened her hand, signaling to Zhuo Xiaoduo. Coming. The two of them could not help but sneer in their hearts. In such a public place, they actually came to find them so quickly. Was the Wong family really so arrogant? The crowd suddenly parted, and there was a loud laugh. Ha 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 ha. Zhuo was face darkened. He saw a fair and tender little fatty coming towards them. He was not very tall, at most 173 meters or so. He had a crew cut in front of him, and there was actually a small braid at the back of his head. That braid looked like a sparrow's tail, but only on one side. It seemed that he had used hair gel to make it shine. The fatty bot was completely black. He wore a black shirt, black trousers, and black leather shoes. Only the outermost part of his clothes was an extremely flashy, snow-white fur coat that covered all the way to his feet. Just like that, under the protection of a few guards, he gracefully appeared in front of Zhuo with a large entourage. The coat fluttered as he walked, flapping in the wind. The big sunglasses that covered half of his face reflected the neon lights on the street. The little fatty strode forward as if there was no one around. Naturally, he had a domineering aura. He looked down on everything, and those who stood in his way would die. Yes, this was the kind of arrogant look. The surrounding crowd dodged, their eyes filled with shock and fear. It was really the ostentatious appearance of a mafia boss. Chapter 11:15. Ha ha. Hello, Zhuo and sister-in-law. The chubby guy was overjoyed. I've been looking for you guys for 3 days. Zhuo looked over. There were several people. This chubby guy was the little brother they met during the trial, Xiaoxia. Your little shrimp? Zhuo looked at Xiaoxia from the corner of his eyes. His gaze was somewhat unfriendly. This guy's appearance was even more showy than his own. This was simply a provocation. Waha! Xiaoxia looked around and laughed. How was it? How was it? I told you that Zhuo would definitely remember me. How was it? How was it? The guard beside him was speechless. You're the first successor of the largest family in the astral souls continent. How could you be this excited when someone remembers you? Could you be any more shameless? Could you not embarrass your ancestor, the heavenly king of the right? You're looking for me? What's the matter? Zhuo frowned. Zhuo, you've come to Shanjing. As a little brother of a local tyrant. How could I not be a good host? Zhuo, you're so mean. How could you forget about your brother when you came to Shanjing? Xiaoxia stuck out his belly and complained first. Then he laughed out loud. You don't have to say anything. Zhuo is in Shanjing. I'll take care of everything, including food, accommodation, transportation, and entertainment. A dragon. A one-stop service. Boss, don't worry and enjoy life. Zhuo's eyelids twitched. Zhuo Xiaoyan glanced at Xiaoxia with an indifferent expression. Xiaoxia instinctively felt as if a bucket of ice water had been poured over him from head to toe. He couldn't help but shiver. He looked at Zhuo Xiaoyan fearfully and said flatteringly, Hello, sister-in-law. Zhuo Xiaoyan snorted. Hello. With his sister-in-law's response, little hero Yu's entire body felt lighter. He immediately stepped forward and pulled Zhuo Xiao's hand enthusiastically. Without any explanation, he walked forward and patted his chest as he said, Zhuo, don't worry. In Shanjing, that's my territory. Here, my words carry weight. He lowered his voice and whispered into Zhuo Xiao's ear. You're even more effective than the crown prince's words, he. Well, he wasn't bragging. A certain shrimp was different from a certain Xiao duo. The latter was a legitimate descendant of the nth generation, a legitimate successor. Regardless of identity, origin, reputation, or status, they were all real. In addition, everyone knew about them, so of course his words carried more weight. But if he were to say it out loud, it would be a little. That. The guard beside him, however, was speechless. Big shot. Even if you're telling the truth, can't you use telepathy when you say that? They whispered in his ear. What kind of godly maneuver is this? Anyone with a little bit of cultivation would be able to hear it. Zhuo, have you and sister-in-law eaten? Little hero Yu asked enthusiastically. Not yet. It's my treat. It has to be my treat. Boss, please don't stand on ceremony with me. Make a call. Book the entire place tonight. No, book it now. Book it until tomorrow morning. Tonight, I want to get drunk with my boss. Little Hero Yu gave the order without hesitation. One of the guards' lips twitched, and he went to make a call. Little Shrimp, looks like this kid has been doing well recently. So was Xiaoduo squinted. So impressive? Isn't this all thanks to you? TSK, I don't have that kind of luck. Even if I did, I wouldn't give it to you. So was Xiaoduo squinted. Zwa, I'm sad to hear you say that. What's going on? Didn't you say that you weren't valued in the family? That's not the case now. Speaking of this, Little Hero Yu's eyebrows danced as he laughed heartily. Ever since the last trial, I don't know how, but when I returned to the family, I became the first successor. Really? Hearing this, Zwa Xiaoduo was shocked, truly shocked. The Yu family that Little Hero Yu belonged to was the family of the Heavenly King of the Right. It was also the family of the Emperor Zhaixing. Without a doubt, it was the most powerful family in the Astral Souls continent. Such a large family had its own way of choosing its successor, but it should be quite strict and especially cautious. Often, their descendants might not be able to reach a conclusion even when they were hundreds of years old. How could this little fatty be chosen as the first in line to inherit the family so quickly? Wasn't this too hasty? It was child's play. So Xiaoduo had only known Little Hero Yu for a short while, but he felt that he had some understanding of this fatty bai. With this guy's arrogant appearance, how could he be the head of the family? What, you're not bragging, are you? How could the dignified Yu family decide such a big thing so easily? You're not trying to give me face, are you? Zwa Xiaoduo expressed his disbelief from the bottom of his heart. Don't say that Zwa doesn't believe it. When I first heard about it, I didn't believe it myself. At that time, I just took it as a joke. Little Hero Yu laughed and said, but things are just that bizarre, especially when I'm the first in line to inherit the family. It was personally decided by the ancestor himself. He said that he saw that I would definitely be successful in the future, so it was decided just like that. The ancestor has spoken. Who dares to disobey? Who dares to disobey? Who dares to disobey? Thus, I got promoted without knowing anything. Wah ha ha ha. The ancestor personally decided. So Xiaoduo's eyes were a little blank. This ancestor didn't seem very reliable. It's the Heavenly King of the Right, my ancestor. Then, just a month ago, the head of the family announced this matter to the world, confirming my status as the successor. He gave me 3 pieces of the Divine Sense Protection Jade Pendant of the Emperor Ancestor. 3 pieces. 3 pieces, ah. Huh. When he reached the final stage of the Jade Pendant, Little Hero Yu's bones were obviously lighter by a few ounces. It was obvious that he was extremely proud of himself. But to be able to become the successor of the #1 family in the Astral Souls continent was indeed something to be proud of. So Xiaoduo was fascinated by the story. While he was envious and jealous, he also sighed that the Yu family was indeed the #1 family. Even the selection of the successor was so bizarre. Looking at Little Fatty's arrogant behavior, so Xiaoduo was deeply worried about the future of the Yu family. With Little Fatty's character, if it was any other family, he would have been marginalized long ago. But in the Yu family, he actually became the #1 treasure. They even gave him 3 pieces of the Emperor Ancestor's Divine Sense Jade Pendant. Could it be any more ridiculous? Could it be that the Yu family successor was chosen according to the special concept of choosing the most unreliable? Let's go, Zwa. I'll bring you and sister-in-law to tour the scenery of Shangjing. Later, we'll go to the Heavenly Palace and get drunk. Little Fatty's face was full of glory. He was full of radiance and was in high spirits. When he walked, his legs were wide open from left to right. Kid, the 2 of us are in Shangjing now. It's quite sensitive. So Xiaoduo vaguely reminded him. It's all right. Little Hero, you said loudly as he walked forward. He ignored the passers-by on the roadside, his guards, and even the divine senses monitoring them in the dark. He laughed loudly and said, Zwa, don't worry. With your little brother here, you can do whatever you want in Shangjing. Whoever dares to provoke my boss, I'll teach them and their whole family a lesson. These words were indeed domineering. But coming from the mouth of such an arrogant fatty bai, who looked like a hedonistic prodigal, so Xiaoduo found it hard to believe. He felt that his horizons had been broadened once again. At the same time, he felt that this matter was reliable. The countless divine senses were immediately shaken. This was Xiaoduo was so close to the Yu clan. This fatty bai. Did he get the clan's approval to say such words so rashly? One of the guards, who was experienced and prudent, reminded him in a low voice, "Young master, there are too many people around. It's better not to say such things casually." What did I say? Making friends is the most important thing. Instantly become friends and never regret. Don't you have any sense of responsibility? How can we make friends? Little hero Yu looked around and raised his head. I'm the young master of the Yu clan. This is how I make friends. What about it? Who dares to say no? Who? 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 The guard looked up at the sky with a melancholy face. Who? Who? Who am I? Where am I? This little fatty. How could he be so perverse? After giving him a warning, he actually became even more vicious. Truly melancholy. We are the team of the future master of the clan. We have been secretly nurtured for so many years. Each of us has gone through countless experiences and risked our lives to stand out. Then, finally, the successor of the clan master has been decided. But the person who has been confirmed is actually such an unreliable fellow. He is good at eating, drinking, and playing, but he is not willing to practice martial arts. Ever since the Heavenly King of the Right personally decided on this fellow's position as the first successor, the Yu clan has been in chaos. Every day, there would be several highly respected elders and the direct descendants of the Yu family who would come to supervise little hero Yu's training with a stick. And the process was basically repeated every day. There were rarely any changes. First, little hero Yu, who liked to sleep naked, would wake up from his dreams with a basin of water. Then, he would be dragged out naked. Second, they would start the routine beating every morning. Yes, that's right, it was a beating. Because little fatty Yu's practice was just to deal with it. Just supervision was not enough. Since supervision was not enough, they would arrange for people to spar with him and beat him up mercilessly. This would make him have a desire to live, and naturally, he would cultivate on his own. After the routine beating, they would enter the third stage, consume heavenly treasures, and enter a state of cultivation. Every time, there would be a peak sky soaring realm cultivator guiding the spiritual energy in little fatty's body to enter this state of cultivation. Basically, it was that peak sky soaring realm cultivator who brought him to practice and helped him practice. The fourth stage would continue to beat him up. The fifth stage would guide the spiritual energy into his body. The sixth stage would continue to beat him up. The seventh stage would be another beating. The eighth stage would be another beating. Then, at 11:30 p.m., finally, little fatty Yu went to sleep. And so, the above process was repeated 4 days a week without any changes. The other 3 days, little fatty Yu could freely use and relax. Little fatty Yu was beaten to the point that he howled every day, "I don't want to be the successor anymore. I don't want to be the successor anymore." But the more he shouted, the more ruthless he was beaten. He was beaten to the point that if he didn't say anything, it wouldn't be over. No, if he didn't say anything, it wouldn't be over either. There was a process to the beating, and there was a time limit to it. Although little fatty was in an abyss of suffering for 4 out of the 7 days, as if he was in hell, when it came to the days when he was free to do as he pleased, he became arrogant. He would often say, "I'm the Yu family's first successor, the Yu family's young master, and you're letting me eat this? I'm a young patriarch. You let me eat this." He was practically looking for trouble. Of course, little fatty Yu clan's first successor was partnering with a woman to do business with. One of them was doing business with a woman called Gao Xiao. Although the business was very popular, for the Yu clan's first successor to partner with a woman to do business, it was a loss of face. Moreover, that woman wasn't even enchanting. She was remotely commanding him to do things. With just a phone call, this young patriarch eagerly went over. Moreover, he personally went out to rope in customers. But there was no harm without comparison. Although it was a loss of face to do business with Gao Xiao, it was still a legitimate business. As for the other girl, in Fatty Bai's own words, he was trying to pick up a girl. However, That girl didn't even pay attention to him. Yet, this guy stuck to her like he was chewing on a sticky bubble gum. He displayed a ferocious bootlicking method, which made people gasp in amazement. It was a marvelous spectacle, but it was undeniable that the two girls who were partnering with Fatty Bai were both stunning. Gao Qiao was already a feast for the eyes, and the other girl, called Xian Yi, was even more graceful and charming. She was devastatingly beautiful. This made the group of guards who didn't take Fatty Bai seriously criticize and ridicule him in their hearts. This Fatty Bai's taste is really good, and it's another form of 1 against 2. It's really impressive. However, these few days, the Yu clan seemed to be indulging little Fatty even more. They allowed him to play outside for several days in a row, and even stopped the daily beatings. Therefore, little Fatty was extremely happy these few days. Of course, he was also very anxious. In fact, the moment Zhuo Xiaoduo came to Shangjing, little hero Yu knew about it. During this period, he had been looking for Zhuo Xiaoduo's whereabouts. The reason why he was so anxious to find Zhuo Xiaoduo was because of Gao Qiao's request. Previously, when Zhuo Xiaoduo disappeared, Li Chenglong blocked the news. But who was Gao Qiao? How could she not know that something might have happened to him? Naturally, she would try to pull some connections. Little hero Yu, a member of the Yu clan, was a special connection that she could contact. Unfortunately, even if little hero Yu sent out the Yu clan's men, they still couldn't find Zhuo Xiaoduo's whereabouts. However, little hero Yu also found out about Zhuo Xiaoduo's public network and came to the ancestral dragon from the Sky Patrol throne. After the name Qin Fanyang spread, little Fatty knew that as long as Zhuo appeared, he would definitely come to Shangjing. Qin Fanyang had an accident, so how could Zhuo Xiaoduo not come to Shangjing? It would be strange if he didn't come. Since then, little Fatty started to move. For the first time, he mobilized the clan's power as the successor of the clan. He went to investigate thoroughly and confirm how Qin Fanyang died and who killed him. Then, he paid attention to the movements of the entire Shangjing and waited for Zhuo's arrival. The group of people arrived at the most famous restaurant in Shangjing, the Palace of Heaven. Zhuo Xiaoduo took in all the sights. This restaurant was really big. The elevator went all the way to the top floor, which was thousands of square meters. It was brightly lit, and rows of maids stood neatly. Countless fresh flowers were piled up on the top floor, leaving only a place for a table. At this moment, there was a roar outside. Countless fireworks shot up into the sky and bloomed in Shangjing's night sky, gradually forming a few big words. A warm welcome to Zhuo's arrival in Shangjing. Then, boom, 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 another row of fireworks shot up into the sky. Little hero Yu welcomes Zhuo. Later, another row of fireworks shot up. Zhuo's arrival brings light to Shangjing. This extravagance, this momentum, this grandeur. Zhuo Xiaoduo, who had always thought of himself as a show-off, high-end, and high-class person, was dumbfounded. Fuck, is this to welcome me? Those who didn't know would think that it was to welcome the Sky Patrol minister, that after all, that person was the one who was most qualified to be called Zhuo. However, it gave him a lot of face. Look, my arrival brings light to Shangjing. Head out throughout the meal. The fireworks didn't stop. Bang, 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 bang. One row after another. Another row after another, to all kinds of compliments, all kinds of nice words, hung in the night sky one after another. A full 2 hours passed, and the night sky remained bright and colorful, extremely magnificent and resplendent. Everyone in Shangjing felt that today was even more festive than the New Year. This is too. Zhuo Xiaoduo's lips twitched. He felt that he was still a country bumpkin. He really didn't know how to play as well as others. Next time I'll do this too. Although it feels stupid, why do I have a feeling that it's awesome? With this, I reckon that hundreds of millions of people in Shangjing will know that a person with the surname Zhuo has come to Shangjing. Zhuo Xiaoduo sighed. Xiao Xiao laughed. That's nothing. I just want them to know that I have come to Shangjing. Zhuo Xiaoduo looked at the row of fireworks in the sky that said, "Little brother Xiao Xiao welcomes Zhuo," and said lightly, "The direct result of your actions is that you've dragged yourself and your family into this mess." Xiao Xia said, "What's wrong with that? Without Zhuo, I would have been killed in the arcane realm. A drop of water should be repaid with a gushing spring. A life-saving grace. No matter how much I repay it, it's not enough. So Xiaoduo smiled, nodded, and didn't say anything else. After 3 rounds of wine and more than 100 dishes, Xiao Xia took out a foot-thick file from his space ring. Zua, you've come all the way to Shangjing. I don't have anything to give you, so I'll use this as a greeting gift. What's this? This is the Yu family's investigation of teacher Qin Fangyang's case. Zhuo Xiaoduo's expression changed abruptly, and he took it solemnly. Xiao Xia said, "This is all the information that has been confirmed so far. Although there isn't a complete chain of evidence, we can confirm that the Wang family has something to do with this case." Let me explain. The Wang family of the war god family and the Wang family of the capital have the same origin. Although they were divided, they have been united for hundreds of years. Whether it's targeting teacher Qin Fangyang or the burglary of Principal He Yuanyue's grave, they were all ordered by the Wang family. I'll take care of it. The only regret is that I can't find out the Wang family's motive for doing this. Regarding this matter, this situation, little hero Yu is really embarrassed. Such a big family, known as the #1 family in the world, couldn't even find out such a small thing in their own territory. They were really ashamed of Zhua. So Xiaoduo didn't care too much about this. Xiao Xia's willingness to help him was already beyond his expectations. The information that he could provide should be the best that the government could gather. Naturally, he looked through the file carefully and immersed himself in it. It had to be said that the Yu family was indeed the #1 family. So much information was gathered, and every small matter had the name and phone number of the person in charge. Obviously, these people would have to take responsibility for any falsehood in this information. From the outside to the inside, there were a total of 10 files. The direction of investigation was confirmed to be the Wang family, and the investigation stopped abruptly. This also proved that the Yu family wasn't prepared to go to war with the Wang family. In other words, there was no need to go to war with the Wang family. So Xiaoduo looked through each file seriously. Seeing that Zhuo Xiaoduo didn't say anything, Xiao Xia turned to chat with Zhuo Xiaoyan. "Hello, sister-in-law. You're getting more and more beautiful." "Thank you." Zhuo Xiaoyan looked indifferent. Although she wasn't as cold as usual, the aura that kept people 1,000 miles away was still naturally exuded. This was Zhuo Xiaoyan's nature. Except for Zhuo Xiaoduo and Zhuo Chonglu, she treated everyone else like this. When she was with outsiders, she was naturally vigilant and guarded to the maximum level. The outsiders here included Li Chenglong, Long Yuxing, and Zhuo Xiaoduo's best friends. Of course, just like how Zhuo Xiaoduo regarded Hu Riyun as another relative besides his mother and sister, Zhuo Xiaoyan also had exceptions in her heart. There were 3 exceptions. One was Mu Yanyan, the second was He Yuanyue, and the last was Qin Fangyang. But now, among these 3 people, Qin Fangyang was killed, and He Yuanyue's grave was destroyed. For Zhuo Xiaoyan, like Zhuo Xiaoduo, they were both filled with anger and irreconcilable hatred. The fact that he was able to maintain his composure at this moment was already because of the ranger's kindness. However, this expression was nothing to the ranger, because this guy endured this kind of expression every day. He had long been used to it. "Sister-in-law, can I ask you something?" Xiao Xia looked distressed. "I want to ask you something." "What is it?" "Go ahead." "It's like this, I like a girl. But this girl, she's always lukewarm to me, but she's not pretentious or anything. She just doesn't like me. I had no choice but to expose my identity, but she became even more distant from me. What do you think is going on?" Xiao Xia's face was full of bitterness as he sighed. This was a sad thing for him. Originally, their relationship had improved a little, but since he returned home from the last trial and became the young master of the Yu family, Imo Xuani's attitude towards him had become colder and colder. It was definitely not a show of refusal to marry into a rich family, but a real coldness. Chapter 11:16. This reality, hurt the hero greatly. Not only that, but everyone in the Yu family was extremely dissatisfied with the hero's actions of licking the dog every day. The little fatty was even beaten up because of this. Because of this matter, the little fatty's father swung a big stick and chased the little fatty around the Yu family like a dog. The little fatty screamed in pain and was beaten until his nose was bruised and his butt was swollen. He scolded again and again. "You useless bastard. What a disappointment." The hero screamed and begged for mercy. "We're really in love." "Bullshit. She doesn't even care about you. How can you be in love? You're licking and licking her every day. She doesn't even care about you, but you still go every day. How can you be so useless?" The little fatty would have been better off if he didn't say that they were in love. The moment he said this, the entire Yu family exploded in anger. The future patriarch of the Yu clan was appointed by the old ancestor to pursue a girl from an ordinary family. Even if you were willing, our Yu clan would never accept a woman with such a simple background as the patriarch's wife. The patriarch's marriage had always been the most important matter. How could it be decided so carelessly? This was a matter that could decide the future of the Yu family. You want to marry an ordinary girl? It was fine to take her in as a concubine, but to be the patriarch's wife? Don't even think about it, hero. But the hero was deeply in love and had been blinded by love. He was determined to go straight to the southern mountain without looking back. The little fatty's father was panting heavily at home every day. His mother sighed at home every day. His ancestors and elders were so angry that their stomachs were about to explode. The hero was so distressed that he was about to go crazy. The girl was unwilling and would not accept it. His family was also unwilling and would not accept it. He was the only one left. But he was truly deeply in love with Mo Shwani, and no matter what, he couldn't let her go. In this lifetime, he only had Mo Shwani in his eyes. "Sister-in-law, what do you think I should do? You've been through this before. Can you give me some advice?" The little fatty begged. "I don't know. I don't understand this." Zhuo Xiaoyan nodded honestly. "You don't understand this? Then what about you and boss?" The ranger was a little confused. "Our parents chose us," Zhuo Xiaoyan said. The ranger felt as if he had received 1,000,000,000 critical hits. "I also want to have such parents." "You've never talked about it before? Zhuo didn't even chase after you?" The ranger's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. She was supposed to be the #1 goddess in the entire continent. How could she be taken down by Zhuo before she could even put up a fight? This thinking about how he was still being politely told to get lost by the girl. Little hero, you felt very sad, and his balls hurt. He wanted to vomit blood. "Talk. What is it?" Zhuo Xiaoyan was confused. "I'm in love," Xiao Xia said. "Yeah, we've been dating every day," Zhuo Xiaoyan said in a daze. "We've been dating since we were kids. They had been dating since they were young, were they childhood sweethearts. A perfect match made in heaven." The ranger was getting more and more depressed. After a while, he finally struggled to ask, "Then when did you two get together? What did Zhuo do to move you?" Zhuo Xiaoyan widened her beautiful eyes and said in a daze, "There wasn't any time, and he didn't do anything to move me. I knew I was his wife since we were kids. Why? Why are you guys making it so complicated?" The ranger picked up his wine glass and drank it in one gulp. He only felt a sense of loss in his heart. It was as if the sky had been blocked out. The ranger could withstand Zhuo Xiaoduo's attack, because Zhuo Xiaoduo was intentionally attacking him. After seeing through Zhuo Xiaoduo's intentions, other than cursing in his heart, there was nothing else he could do. However, Zhuo Xiaoyan was completely unintentional. She didn't even know what she was asking. But every word she said, every unintentional sentence was even more deadly. Just like that, the ranger, who was a single dog, suffered a series of critical hits that were indescribable. No, this was gradually going beyond the scope of what could be described with pen and ink. "So sister-in-law is with child bride," the ranger said weakly. "You're the child bride." Zhuo Xiaoyan couldn't take it anymore. "Then, we've been free to love since we were kids." "Free to love, do you understand?" Zhuo Xiaoyan argued anxiously, her voice stern. The ranger was now at a point where he didn't want to speak anymore. "Your words are so reasonable. I know I have nothing to say. I won't speak anymore, okay? Sister-in-law, can you teach little shrimp some sans-home moves to deal with girls? The ranger changed his strategy and beat around the bush. Zhuxianyan thought for a moment. She really felt the ranger's sincerity in asking for help and his kindness in helping Zhuxiaoduo. She was willing to help. However, she was really clueless in this regard. The more she thought about it, the more blank her mind became. After a while, she said, "People say that you can only understand with experience. I've never had any experience in this area. How would I know what to do? We're really in love. There's no such thing. Never been dealt with. There's no such thing." That the ranger was in tears after suffering a few more critical hits. Then, sister-in-law, what do you like? The ranger changed his approach again and asked Zhuxianyan directly. The person he liked was also a high-end beauty. Although she couldn't be compared to his sister-in-law, their interests should be similar, right? I like. So Zhuxianyan thought about it seriously, and then said, I like to improve my cultivation, and I also like handy artifacts, or those kinds of connate creatures, 9 heavens spring water, bay laurel honey. Well, these are all things I like. The ranger felt that he was about to become autistic. Artifacts, innate creatures, Jiuxiao spring water, I know all these things, and I also understand. It's not that you like it. As long as you're human, you have to like it. Well, what is laurel honey? Since my sister-in-law mentioned it, it must be something that exists. It's probably something from legends or myths. In short, it's the kind that's very high-end. But I don't have any of these. I've never even heard of laurel honey. Don't tell me that I need to use a divine weapon to chase after an outstanding girl now. Then who can afford to marry a wife? The ranger drank silently, looking at Zhuxiaoduo with resentful eyes from time to time. In comparison, Zhu was still better, although he was a little cheap. Zhuxiaoduo and the others were drinking. Although they had a lot on their minds, the atmosphere was still harmonious. On this night, the situation in Shangjing was even more turbulent. Undercurrents were surging and rising. In the eyes of ordinary people, the endless fireworks that night were just rich people playing with fireworks because they had nothing better to do. There were so many fireworks and so many patterns. Even a few million wouldn't be enough. In short, rich people really knew how to play. Treating someone to a drink was such a big deal. Ordinary people like us can only look up to them. As expected, poverty has limited our imagination. However, in the eyes of the upper echelons and the big families in Shangjing, this matter was completely different. This matter had nothing to do with acting tough. This was a signal, an attitude, an extremely arrogant and obvious declaration of their position. It was completely the Yu family announcing to the whole of Shangjing, Zhuxiaoduo is under my protection. Whoever dares to touch Zhuxiaoduo is an enemy of the Yu family. That is an enemy of the heavenly king of the right. That is an enemy of the Emperor Zhai Xing. They wanted to use the most obvious way to release the signal, arrogantly announcing it to the whole world. Whoever dares to touch Zhuxiaoduo, come and try it. The fireworks in the night sky were still rushing up and exploding endlessly. It was as if they wanted to use this method to dispel the darkness of Shangjing's night forever. The Wang family once again called for an emergency meeting. However, this time, only the absolute core of the family could attend. The Yu family has intervened. The situation is getting worse and worse. What should we do about this matter? After the Wang family head, Wang Han, saw the sudden fireworks incident, he seemed to have aged a few years. After all, he had to face the Yu family head-on. This kind of pressure wasn't something that an ordinary person could bear. Check it out. What's going on? I want accurate information. Reporting to head, the first successor of the Yu family head, little hero Yu, met with danger when he went to the Starry Mountain Range to train. It was Zhuxiaoduo who saved his life. After that, little hero Yu followed Zhuxiaoduo all the way to the Starry Mountain Range and was able to create the Starry Mountain Range. I see. Head, what should we do about this matter? If the plan continues, we might have to go to war with the Yu family. With the Yu family's strength at its peak, how can we resist them? Wang Han let out a long sigh. His gaze was heavy as he looked into the distance. Over there, fireworks were still rising, exploding in the sky. They formed various kinds of words, rendering the entire night sky colorful and dazzling. It was as if the Yu family was standing in front of him, looking at him coldly and softly saying, "Don't move." He looked at it quietly for a long, long time. Finally, he closed his eyes and said softly, "There is no turning back the arrow that has been shot. Currently, only Zhuo Duo can satisfy our needs. Even if we have to go to war with the Yu family, this matter is already imperative. There is no turning back." Everyone was speechless. A few people were even puzzled. Going to war with the Yu family was something that no family in the entire Astral Souls continent dared to do. The Heavenly King of the Right, Emperor Zhai Xing. Just thinking about these two names, no matter who it was, would immediately dispel the idea. If the Wang family were to go against the Yu family now, there would be no other outcome. But the head, why was he so determined? Could it be that he couldn't see the consequences? Chapter 11:17. The clan master would never be so stupid. He considered the future more thoroughly than anyone else. Then what was it? What was it that made the clan master so persistent, so stubborn, and so courageous? The plan remains unchanged. Wang Han made the final decision. Yes, even if we have to pay the price of the entire Wang clan, as long as this matter succeeds, we will be worthy of our ancestors and future generations. Yes, let's disperse. Clan Master, there's one more thing. What is it? In the past few days, many people from Phoenix City's second high school have been attacking our Wang clan's businesses in different ways and in different fields. There were even people who tried to assassinate us. There were also many who tried to break into our house. Weren't those people sent to the judicial authorities? Yes. That's what I'm talking about. Those who were supposed to be detained have all been taken out. Who? Who did it? It's the Liu clan. The people of the Liu family suddenly intervened. All the criminals were taken out by the Liu family. Then they were released and regained their freedom. It is said that this matter was done by the Liu clan's clan master himself. Liu clan? The clan master personally took action? Wang Han turned around like a whirlwind, his eyes wide open. Why did the Liu clan take action? I don't know for now. What's more, since yesterday, the Liu clan began to attack our related industrial chain. The Liu clan's network forces also began to cooperate with Zhuo Shuai's company to discredit us as much as possible. Just this afternoon, the sons of the Liu clan's clan master personally destroyed several of our branches. Tonight, Old Seven encountered the Liu clan's eldest brother at the entrance of Shangjing Theater. He was seriously injured on the spot. The guards fought with all their might to save Old Seven. It is said that the Liu clan's eldest brother came to stir up trouble from the beginning. Once he attacked, it was a fatal blow. If Old Seven wasn't wearing a high-level demon beast inner armor, I'm afraid. In short, the Liu clan is now showing a state of crazy biting and not hesitating to fight with us. Wang Han was silent again. The Liu clan was not ranked in the top 3 in Shangjing, but it was still ranked in the top 10. For so many years, the Liu family had been keeping a low profile. No matter how the situation changed, the Liu family rarely reacted. They just kept sending their disciples to the Sun Moon Pass to participate in the battle. From the beginning to the end, they did not reveal their strength. Even though all the major families in Shangjing knew that the Liu family was not weak, no one had ever seen them as an opponent. It would not be an exaggeration to say that they were good people for 10,000 years. But this time, why did the Liu family, who had always kept a low profile, stand out so clearly? One had to know that the fact that the clan head had personally protected the assassins who tried to assassinate the Wang family was already the most obvious signal. That was, "Your Wang family, I will definitely go against you." One had to know that as the head of the clan personally making an appearance, it basically meant that they would not rest until one of them was dead. This attitude was even more clearly expressed than the Yu family's fireworks tonight. This was because the Yu family's actions so far, in a sense, could be understood as the young family head repaying a debt of gratitude. After all, up until now, the only person from the Yu family that had appeared was Xiao Yu. None of the senior members of the Yu family had appeared. If the matter had deteriorated to a certain extent, The Yu family's elders only needed to say that the young man was not sensible and was causing trouble. His actions only represented his personal wishes, and this matter could be easily covered up. After all, with the Yu family status, they only needed an excuse to enter. If they wanted to withdraw, they only needed a way out. But the Liu family's clan head had personally made an appearance. That meant that there was no more room for negotiation. Furthermore, if one analyzed the timing of the Liu family's intervention in detail, one would find that it was earlier than the Yu family's declaration. It was even more unyielding and decisive. This was very thought-provoking. This was not taking advantage of the situation, nor was it taking advantage of the situation. It was a clear-cut attack. In other words, the Liu family did not take advantage of the situation because of the Yu family's intervention. It was completely because of their own reasons. Wang Han was silent for a moment. Then, he took out his phone and called the Liu family's clan head, Liu Yingfeng. They were both clan heads of big families in Shangjing. Although they could not be considered old friends, they still had some old friendship. At the very least, they had interacted many times. They were not close, nor were they bosom buddies. However, everyone had been in Shangjing for so many years, and there was still some friendship between them. Sometimes, some matters could still be discussed over drinks at the same table. He really could not figure out why the Liu family would do this. They usually did not make any moves, but once they made a move, they went to the extreme. When did our Wang family offend you? The phone rang twice before it was connected. An indifferent voice came from the other end. Why are you calling me, Clan Head Wang? Do you have any instructions? Wang Han smiled and said, Brother Liu, long time no see. I miss you, so I called to ask about you. Liu Yingfeng said indifferently, Thank you for your concern, Brother Wang. My body is still healthy. Wang Han could feel the clear alienation and indifference in the other party's voice. However, this was what he did not understand the most. In the end, how did the Wang family offend the Liu family? At this moment, the Wang family was in troubled times, and the situation was unstable. Not only was it unwise to have a big enemy like the Liu family under the tree, but it was also courting death. If it could be resolved, the Wang family would be willing to pay a considerable price. However, the crux of the problem now was that the Wang family did not know how they had offended the Liu family at all. Thinking of this, Wang Han asked straightforwardly, Brother Liu, I really don't understand this phone call. I have to call and ask for a clear explanation. Ask, I wonder how my Wang family offended Brother Liu, or offended the Liu family. Please tell me, Brother Liu. If I am really in the wrong, I will bring a bramble to ask for punishment and cut off the karma. If there is any misunderstanding with my relationship with Brother Liu, this old man believes that there is no misunderstanding that cannot be resolved. Wang Han directly said everything in one breath. He even lowered his posture. On the other side, the Liu family head was silent for a moment and said lightly, Why can't I understand Brother Wang's words? Wang Han was displeased. Brother Liu, why do you have to speak in secret in front of an honest person? Why do you lose your dignity? Ah! The Liu family head's laughter was heard. The phone was on speaker mode, and the Wang family members present could clearly hear that the Liu family head's laughter contained indescribable sadness, bitterness, and anger. Wang Han, do you really want to know why I'm going against you? The Liu family head did not hide it this time and spoke rudely. He even called out his name directly, no longer hiding anything. It was an imposing manner that made it clear that he would not rest until one of them was dead. Even through the phone, it was exceptionally clear. Wang Han's heart suddenly trembled, and he said, Please speak. He could not help but hold his breath, and an inexplicable ominous premonition rapidly grew in his heart. Then I will tell you clearly. Liu Yingfeng gritted his teeth and said word by word, Phoenix City. Yu's grave was dug up by your Wang family, right? Wang Han's heart skipped a beat. Then, what does it have to do with you? Ha 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 ha. What does it have to do with me? Ha ha ha. Wang Han, what does it have to do with me? Wang Han, you son of a bitch. Liu Yingfeng suddenly did not care about his manners and cursed angrily. He said in a hoarse voice, Wang Han, I will tell you the reason clearly. Yuanwei has another name. Lu Qianqian. She is my Lu Yingfeng's daughter, my flesh and blood, my Lu Yingfeng's youngest daughter, the daughter that I, Lu Yingfeng, owe the most in my life, my only daughter. Even when she was still alive, every time I thought of this daughter, it felt like a knife was cutting my heart. Back then, because she was plotted against, her foundation was destroyed, and her martial path came to a premature end. As her father, I could not find the spirit medicine to cure her. I was already in so much pain that I wanted to die. Now that she is dead, you actually dug up her grave so that she can't have peace after death. Lu Yingfeng gritted his teeth and said, Wang Han, today I will tell you frankly, I, Lu Yingfeng, and your Wang family know. Die. No. Rest. You dug up my daughter's grave, so I will dig up your Wang family's ancestral grave. Wang Han's heart shook. So that was it. So that was the truth. Lu Yingfeng's actions could be considered to be before the Yu family officially came out to receive Zhuo Xiaoduo, and it did not have much to do with Zhuo Xiaoduo. Instead, he was the one who stood up for his daughter. Even at that time, Lu Yingfeng clearly knew that the Lu family was no match for the Wang family, but he still chose to come out personally. What kind of determination was this? No wonder. This was no longer a great enemy, but a great enmity. Perhaps there was a chance to turn a great enemy into a friend, but how could such an irreconcilable enmity be resolved? Wang Han was shocked and asked He Yuanyue, Lu Qianqian, how? How could this be? His mind was in a mess for a moment. Originally, if there was no incident with Hero Yu at night, this incident would not have caused too much of a shock to him. However, the Yu family was already incomparable to the declining Wang family. If there was also the Lu family, which was also one of the top 10 families and had vowed to take revenge, then the Wang family really had no chance of winning. He Yuanyue is my daughter, Lu Qianqian. Lu Yingfeng gritted his teeth. My Qianqian has already been buried underground, and now, even after death, she still can't rest in peace. When she was alive, she begged me not to expose her existence. I couldn't give her more, so I could only comply. However, I didn't expect that even after she died, I, as her father, couldn't even protect her grave. Wang Han, what kind of bastards are you? And Qin Fangyang, that's my son-in-law. Lu Yingfeng laughed mournfully. In order to fulfill my daughter's last wish, I used my connections to influence and secretly help Qin Fangyang enter the ancestral Dragon High Martial Arts School. However, I didn't expect that it would cost his life. Before my daughter died, she wrote a letter to me, asking me to take care of her lover. In the end, it was me who personally sent my son-in-law to the gates of hell. Wang Han, my Lu family, what enmity and grudge does your family have? Wang Han, you're specifically stabbing me where my heart hurts the most. Now, you actually have the face to call me and ask why. Who are you pretending to be innocent for? Do you think that you can cover the sky with one hand after digging up someone's grave and no one will ask about it? Was there no one who would back her up? How could it be so quiet and peaceful? Let me tell you, she has it. She still has her father. She still has her father. Chapter 11:18. The anger and grief from the other side came crashing down. Wang Han felt his mind was in a mess. Lu Yingfeng roared. The phone was cut off with a click. Lu Yingfeng must have either smashed the phone or crushed it in a fit of anger. Wang Han's phone was still in his hand as he stood there in a daze. The other members of the Wang clan who were also in the secret room were all dumbstruck and speechless for a long time. They understood. They completely understood why Qin Fangyang could enter Ancestral Dragon High School as a teacher so easily. Why He Yuanyue, an ordinary person, could single-handedly support Phoenix City's #2 high school and send so many talents to the astral souls. Logically speaking, even if she had the heart, she definitely did not have the financial resources to do so. Why would the Lu family bring all the people who wanted to avenge He Yuanyue? Why would the Lu family be so agitated when He Yuanyue's grave was destroyed? So that was it. This was the truth. This was reality. He Yuanyue was Lu Qianqian, the youngest daughter of the Lu family's head. She was also the apple of Lu Yingfeng's eye. Everyone knew that the Liu family was prosperous. Liu Yingfeng had a wife and more than 10 concubines. He had more than 90 sons, but he did not have a daughter. Who would have thought that he Yuanyue was the only child of the Liu family? One could imagine how precious he Yuanyue's only sister would be to the Liu family's head and the elders of the Liu family, as well as her 90 brothers. Now, their treasure was gone, and they had to dig up her grave. The Wang family naturally became the outlet for the Liu family's guilt and discomfort for nearly 100 years. Moreover, this vent was strong enough to bear all of the Liu family's anger, all of their longing, all of their guilt, all of their debt. All of it poured out. What the fuck? This is really... What the fuck? After a long time, Wang Hankai finally cursed with a twisted face. However, the strange feeling in his heart did not disappear. The bomb that had been hidden for so long and so deep was actually successfully detonated by him in such a way. What the fuck? What the fuck? How unlucky can I be? I'm just digging a random grave, but I actually poked a hornet's nest. The blue veins on Wang Han's forehead bulged out. He muttered angrily, randomly digging up a grave, and it has a relationship with the Liu family. Randomly looking for a target, and it has a relationship with the Yu family. Motherfucker, the next step is to randomly pick a person. Won't they directly pick the minister's head? This is simply absurd. Everyone, let's discuss how we should handle this matter. Although Wang Han was angry, he quickly calmed down. At such a critical juncture, being anxious and angry was the most useless emotion. Even though the Liu family had made it clear that they would not rest until one of them was dead, the strength of the Liu family was still lacking compared to the Wang family. Even if it was very troublesome to deal with, and if they really fought, it would be hard to avoid serious injuries. But as long as it didn't drag on for too long, it would still be bearable. And as long as he could get through the current crisis and continue the situation until the group of dragons snatched the vein, Wang Han was confident that he could completely defeat the Liu family. At that time, even if the Liu family still didn't give up and still wanted to fight to the death with the Wang family, he believed that the higher-ups would make a choice after considering the overall situation. The Liu family has already made it clear that they are enemies with the Wang family. We have to file a record with the higher-ups first. Wang Han said faintly, Wang Jun, go to the High Martial Affairs Bureau and make it clear that there may be a fight with the Liu family. The Liu family is very likely to use a similar method to challenge us, to force us to make a move. Why? Wang Jun was obviously puzzled by the clan master's judgment. This kind of thing had happened many times before. Since when did it need to be filed? Time is not on my side. Now is a delicate time when the higher-ups are dissatisfied with the Wang family. If they suddenly intervene during the fight and take everyone away with the crime of breaking public order, the aftermath will be troublesome. And if it really comes to that step, I estimate that the Liu family will be able to come out quickly, but our Wang family may not. Wang Han said, now is a time of trouble. It is more appropriate to plan ahead and prepare more. Since we can't avoid going against the Liu family, then we should prepare in advance. Don't give people with ulterior motives an excuse. Understood. Wang Jun sighed, appearing to be in an exceptionally heavy mood. Since when did a noble family with 10,000 years of glory have to be so careful and tiptoe? Now, it was indeed a precarious situation. Similarly, our branches and related enterprises in various places may be attacked by the Liu family. File all of them, just like how we dealt with the student from Phoenix City's second high school. It's just that the strength of the response needs to be deeper. File all the possible emergencies that may occur. It's better to prevent trouble before it happens. Understood, Clan Master. Everyone can see that the current Wang family is in a precarious situation. Many people no longer have scruples about our war god family. Wang Han faintly smiled. Although the current situation could be said to be extremely rare since the establishment of the Wang clan, it is not as if the Wang clan has not experienced similar situations in great waves. After 10,000 years, the Wang clan has always been the Wang clan and will still be the Wang clan. This is just a small setback. What we have to do first is not to panic. That's right. That's right. Clan Master, we understand. When has our Wong family ever been afraid of anyone or any family? Just do it. The meeting was about to end. Suddenly, his phone vibrated and a message came in. Clan Master, the fourth son of the Liu family, wants to challenge the fifth master. The reason is to settle the old score from 5 years ago. Currently, a letter of challenge has been sent. The location is set at the military platform in the north of the city. Wang Han glanced at it and smiled faintly. The Liu family has sent a letter of challenge. As he spoke, he let everyone take a look. His actions were calm, as if everything was under his control. Everyone prostrated themselves in admiration. The clan master just said that the Liu family might use the method of a challenge to provoke and start a fight. His words were still in their ears, and the challenge came. As expected, it was a divine strategy. It was amazing. Clan Master, is the fifth son going to accept the challenge? Of course, informed the fifth son. Not only must he go, but he must also win cleanly. In this battle, all the people from the Liu family, including the fourth son of the Liu family, are not allowed to leave. Wang Han said faintly, "We must use thunderous means to eradicate them in one fell swoop. Even if we have to pay a price, we can accept it. Since they dare to touch the tiger's whiskers of the Wang family, they must pay the corresponding price." Understood. Remember to be wary of ambushes. Understood. Then let's go. Zhou Xiaoduo unhurriedly flipped through the files that the ranger had given him. The last 2 pages of the file were the records of the strength possessed by the Wang family. The content was especially detailed. Dao integration experts. On the surface, the Wang family has 2 Dao integration ancestors. Previously, the experts who had broken through to the Dao integration stage had all had official funerals, but they were probably still alive. The so-called funerals were just a smokescreen used by the Wang family to hide their strength. In this way, if the Wang family's Dao integration experts had not really died in the past 3,000 years, then there would be 6 of them, including 2 genius-level Dao integration pinnacle stage, 2 genius-level high-level Dao integration pinnacle stage, and 2 normal-level Dao integration pinnacle stage. In addition, 3,500 years ago, the 2 Dao integration experts of the Wang family had a decisive battle with someone on the Thousand-Ceasing Peak. In the end, they self-destructed and perished together with the enemy. Not even their corpses were left. This battle is verified to be real, but the so-called self-destruction may not be real. We cannot rule out the possibility that it was an act. If it was an act, then the Wang family might have 8 Dao integration experts. Moreover, these 2 were especially powerful and had reached the legendary Dao integration pinnacle stage. We cannot rule out the possibility that they had already broken through. Also note, at that time, the 2 heavenly kings of the Wu people led 8 Dao integration shaman generals to invade. Their purpose was to let the 8 Dao integration experts break through in the battle. At that time, there was a shortage of manpower at the border, so we urgently transferred high-level inland cultivators to participate in the battle. At that time, the Wang family claimed that the 2 ancestors had perished together with the enemy and were unable to assist in the battle. However, there was no evidence to support this claim. We suspect that they were avoiding the battle. If they were really avoiding the battle, then the total number of Dao integration experts in the Wang family would be 2 more. The ranger also craned his neck to look at this line and sneered. The Wang family really has many experts. Up until now, our Yu family has only had 1 Dao integration stage patriarch at a time, yet the Wang family has so many. This is truly a spectacle, Zhou Xiaoduo replied indifferently. They only have 2 Dao integration experts on the surface. How is that many? The fatso clicked his tongue. Who would believe that? Only an idiot would believe that. The Wang family has developed a case of persecutory paranoia in recent years. They always feel that others are trying to harm them. Thus, they are extremely cautious. They can only sleep peacefully with Dao integration stage experts watching over them. Their paranoia has already reached its final stages. There's no saving them. The ranger's tone was unusually harsh as he spoke of the Wang family. Zhou Xiaoduo chuckled and continued to look at the number of flying heaven realm experts that the Wang family had on the surface. The information regarding the flying heaven realm cultivators became more and more detailed. Their names, ages, lives, and deeds, including how many times they had suppressed their cultivation base before breaking through, how old they were at the return to profound stage, how long they had been stuck at the flying heaven realm, and how many times they had suppressed their cultivation base. 67 flying heaven realm cultivators. So Xiaoduo was astonished. That many? How many flying heaven realm experts can an army possibly have? The ranger replied, Boss, look carefully at the information regarding their identities. Most of the information here has been erased by the fact that they are adopted or adopted children. The Wang clan is a meritorious clan, so they are allowed to retain their strength to protect the clan. This is a rule set by the country, and it is also a privilege given to meritorious clans. It is similar to how they raise private soldiers in novels. The Wang family is taking advantage of this loophole. Chapter 11:19. Zhou Xiaoduo frowned. Is this number accurate? It's at least 90% accurate. At the very least, all the veteran Ascension experts are included here. It's just that it's relatively unclear if they've made a breakthrough in the past 5 years. This is because cultivators who have just broken through the bottleneck of the Ascension realm have to go into seclusion for a period of time to stabilize their realm. Usually, a breakthrough on the battlefield takes about 3 months to stabilize. This is because at that time, many of them will be injured and will easily fall back to their original realm. The Wang clan is the most cowardly and afraid of death. Naturally, they'll be even more cautious about this. They'll settle down for 3 to 5 years, and even wait until they've reached the intermediate level of the Ascension realm or close to it before they can feel at ease. Therefore, in these 5 years, as long as they don't show themselves, it's naturally impossible to calculate. However, according to probability, this number of 37, if at most 10 more were to be added to it, it would already be incredible. After some consideration, he lowered the number of Wang clan's flying heavens to this number. This has been revised. The wanderer pondered for a moment and said, I can guarantee that this number is not missing at all. Right, I don't know if it's because the Wang clan doesn't care about their own cultivation realm, but according to the data, almost none of the members of the Wang clan have suppressed their cultivation realm more than 7 times in the Gue Xian realm. The first 4 have suppressed their Ascension realm 7 times, while the others have suppressed their Ascension realm 6 times or 5 times. The last one has suppressed his Ascension realm 2 times. This one is the most unlucky one. It said that he got too excited when he was having sex with a new concubine and suddenly broke through. It said that after breaking through that night, the female martial artist was crushed into a meat patty by the overflowing true yuan and became a joke. The wanderer's smile was very wretched. Zhou Xiaoyan blushed. She rolled her eyes at this guy and turned her face away. Zhou Xiaoduo was in high spirits. Oh, there's such a thing? Tell me in detail. I love this kind of gossip the most. Tell me in detail. Before he finished speaking, a bone-piercing pain came from his thigh. Zhou Xiaoduo opened his mouth wide. It was so painful that his tongue stiffened in his mouth. His whole body was stiff and trembling slightly. Zhou Xiaoyan had gathered her spiritual energy and pinched his thigh hard. This pinch was merciless. Even with Zhou Xiaoduo's well-honed body, he could not withstand it and almost screamed out loud. Seeing this scene, the wandering hero was so scared that his face turned pale. He hurriedly shut his mouth, afraid that he would be implicated and suffer an unexpected calamity. Zhou was already in such a state. If it were her own small arms and legs, she would be lucky to have one of them twisted off. She would also be frozen in a powder the moment Zhou touched her. Zhou Xiaoyan finally loosened her grip and snorted heavily. Zhou Xiaoduo's hands quickly rubbed his thighs. The ranger lowered his head and slurped down a bowl of congee. Oh my God, it must hurt a lot. But I can't laugh. I must not laugh. If I laugh now, I might not have the chance to laugh again in the future. The meal in the heavenly palace lasted for a long time. The 3 of them chatted and ate. accompanied by the endless fireworks outside. It was not until 2 hours later that it gradually came to an end. The last 2 bottles of the heavenly spirit wine that the ranger had brought were now finished. The phone suddenly rang. The ranger did not hesitate and quickly picked it up. He did not have any intention of avoiding Zhuo. The other side of the phone seemed to say something very hurriedly. The ranger listened calmly and finally replied, "Okay, I got it." He hung up the phone and said to Zhuo, "There's something interesting going on tonight. I think Zhu will be interested." Zhuo held the wine glass and turned it in his hand. "Oh? What's so interesting?" According to the latest news, the 4th son of the Liu family is going to challenge the 5th son of the Wang family tonight. It said that they want to settle an old score from a few years ago. The life and death match will be held at the Dingjun stage in the north of the city. The little fatty chuckled and said, "The Liu family, who never liked to compete, has really gone crazy this time. It's a feeling of anger that has been suppressed for decades, suddenly erupting. It's scary." Zhuo took a deep breath. The Liu family? They took the initiative to challenge the Wang family? His gaze became serious, and he said slowly, "Why? There has to be a reason, right? It said that old Principal He Yuanyue is actually the youngest daughter of the head of the Liu family." The ranger narrowed his eyes and said, "I've already asked them to gather information about this. There will be a report soon." Zhuo breathed a sigh of relief and looked out the window, saying, "So, that's it." His thoughts drifted away in an instant. He vaguely remembered that He Yuanyue's real name was Liu Qianqian. It turned out that the respectable old man was actually from such a prestigious family. But this also explained why the old principal had nurtured so many successful students. It was possible that the Liu family had secretly contributed to this. How could there be no reason for every bird to peck? 10 minutes later, a new document was sent to the ranger's phone. The ranger opened it and handed it to Zhuo without even looking at it. Inside was an extremely detailed introduction of He Yuanyue, from her birth to her death, from her identity as a noble daughter of the Liu family, to how she met Qin Fangyang, to how she was plotted against, how she faked her death, hid her identity, and went to Phoenix City to spend the rest of her life. Everything that happened in her life was recorded in detail. He Yuanyue's real name was Liu Qianqian. She was the youngest and only daughter of the head of the Liu family, Liu Yingfeng. She had a good aptitude since she was young. When she grew up, she entered the High Martial Arts Academy to gain experience. She was betrayed and seriously injured. The Liu family tried their best to find the elixir, but to no avail. After waiting for a few years, Liu Qianqian finally knew that there was no hope. She chose to fake her death and part ways with her lover. She went to Phoenix City and established the second high school in He Yuanyue's name. Principal He refused all help from his family. He was even more afraid that Qin Fangyang would find him because of his family, so he begged his family not to contact him. The Liu family was still secretly investing $5 billion in Phoenix City's second high school under the guise of charity. They also secretly sent experts to take care of it. When Qin Fangyang came to Phoenix City to become a teacher, He Yuanyue was afraid of being exposed and forced the Liu family to withdraw. When He Yuanyue passed away, the head of the Liu family and his wife rushed to Phoenix City and stayed there for 15 days. Finally, they found an opportunity to visit their daughter's grave in the pouring rain. It was night and the rain was pouring, but there was no water around He Yuanyue's grave until the wind stopped and the rain stopped. Later, because of He Yuanyue's last wish, the Liu family secretly helped Qin Fangyang enter the ancestral Dragon High School and planned to fight for the heritage, fulfilling He Yuanyue's last wish that among the 3 people who secretly plotted against He Yuanyue and Qin Fangyang, 2 of them were killed by Qin Fangyang. The 3rd person was under the surveillance of the Liu family. At first, the Liu family intended to let Qin Fangyang take revenge personally. However, when the news of Qin Fangyang's death spread, that person was personally executed by the head of the Liu family. When they heard that He Yuanyue's grave was destroyed, the entire Liu family was filled with anger and started a secret investigation. Until Zhuo's company launched an action to denounce the Wang family. After many investigations, the Liu family finally targeted the Wang family for revenge. After confirming that they were enemies, the Liu family immediately took action and targeted them from all sides. A group of students who graduated from the second high school rushed to Shangjing to seek revenge for He Yuanyue. As the Wang family did not dare to kill them, they only captured them and sent them to the law office. The Liu family immediately took action and came forward to take all of them out. After treating them, they let them go. Liu Yingfeng once said very frankly that this was not to buy people's hearts to strengthen their foundation, but for Principal He. Principal He students should not be killed unjustly. Everyone was voluntarily treated and settled down. They did not ask for any requests. Their only request was, could they write down their past contact with Principal He? There were more than 90 men in the Liu family. Except for the 40 at the Sun Moon Pass and the 20 that had already passed away, there were still 30 men at home. From all directions, online and offline, business competition, assassination, face-to-face battle, directly destroying the scene. They used all kinds of methods and unscrupulous methods to carry out crazy revenge on the Wang family. Revenge for my little sister. This was the voice of the Liu family. My little sister is dead. Qin Fangyang is also dead. My little sister's secret, the secret that made us feel sad and guilty for decades, we finally don't have to keep it a secret anymore. The Liu family only felt a breath that had been suppressed for decades suddenly released. That was an extreme emotion mixed with infinite hatred in the heart. There must be a target to vent on. The Wang family. If this anger could not burn the Wang family to the ground, then it would burn the Liu family to the ground. Zhou Xiaoyan and Zhou Xiaoduo watched quietly. Both of them felt that their hearts were beating fast. It was a kind of indescribable warm excitement. So Xiaoyan said softly, the old principal has students all over the world, and the Phoenix Pulse Soul Empress. With the emergence of geniuses like you, the old principal's reputation has been rising in the whole continent. But the Liu family has never made any sound before. Zhou Xiaoduo nodded slowly. He understood Zhou Xiaoyan's meaning immediately. The Liu family did not intend to use He Yuanyue's reputation to gain any benefits. They just silently gave, silently protected, silently took care of, and silently watched from afar. That finally, today, they began their earth-shattering revenge. This was enough to prove their integrity and their original intentions. The Liu family. What is this family like? Is there corruption? Are they using their power for personal gain? Let's not talk about those first. At least for now, they have done this with a clear conscience. Zhou Xiaoduo said in a rare deep voice. In particular, we can't deny that the Liu family has done us and the entire Phoenix City a favor. Zhou Xiaoyan was quiet, the corner of her mouth holding a smile. You mean to be honest? It won't be right if we don't join in the fun tonight. Zhou Xiaoduo laughed. I still like to watch the fun. You also like to join in the fun. The ranger narrowed his eyes and smiled. Zhou, and I have the same temper. I also like to watch the fun, and I like to join in the fun even more. Chapter 1120. Then what are we waiting for? What time is the appointment? It's 1 o'clock in the middle of the night. It's not even 11 o'clock yet. There's still plenty of time. Sai, let's go first. We're the ones who arrived first. Whatever happens later, those who arrive first will naturally have a share. Okay. The three of them stood up immediately. On the side, the Yu family's guards were dumbfounded again. What kind of godly operation was this? Those who arrive first will naturally have a share? That made sense. Weren't they just helping the Liu family to step on the Wang family? How could they say that? Why did they want to go and watch the show? Was this kind of show something that could be watched casually? Not to mention others. How could Zhou just watch the show? This guy's murderous aura was so thick that his face could not be seen clearly. When he went, he would definitely make a move. Once he made a move, it would be a killing move. Look at your bootlicker face. Needless to say, as long as you go, we will definitely make a move together with Zhou. The point was not that you make a move, but if you make a move, will we be able to stay idle? We have to make a move together with you. And the result of this move. would not be a battle between the Liu family and the Wang family. The Yu family was originally here to watch the show. Their position was neutral, but with your interference, it was tantamount to playing the role of the protagonist. What the hell? Young master, this is a dangerous place. Ahem, I hope you will reconsider. The guard leader reminded him in a very reserved manner. It's okay. With me, and sister-in-law here, nothing will happen to me. I'm very safe. Cough, cough. This is a matter of great importance to both families. It's easy to stir up a lot of trouble and follow up. It's okay. Are you family afraid of trouble? What kind of trouble can't our Yu family handle? But, what's there to but about? If you're afraid, go back first. I'll go with Zwa. Zwa's sister-in-law will naturally protect me. The guard was completely speechless. Is this what you're talking about? Go back. Who are you? Who are we? You, the young master, rushed to the front line. As guards, we have to go back. Was this even a problem? We have to go. The guard leader said helplessly, protecting you is our duty. Look, you also said that I have to go. So how can I not go? Little hero, you said, I have to go with you. You don't trust me, and I don't trust you to go alone. The guard leader's face was so dark that it couldn't get any darker. He didn't feel well at all. Is that how you interpret it? How did it become my responsibility when your upper and lower lips touched? Young master, I'm not. Understood. Let's go now. The earlier we get there, the better place to watch the show. The little fatty stood up without hesitation. Zwa Xiaoduo's group brought along the 4 guards and left the Sky Palace as if they were flying. Before he left, little fatty reminded him, don't stop the fireworks. Keep them going until dawn. The boss of Heaven Palace agreed readily. This was a small matter. The Dingjun platform on the other side was a huge square. In the past, this place was used for the ceremony of swearing an army to go to war. That was why it was called the Dingjun platform. It was also the military's territory. However, with the increasing modernization, there were fewer and fewer occasions that required everyone to come for swearing an army. There was no need for such a big place for training. Not only had part of the place been greened, some rockery decorations had also been piled up. Gradually, it became a place for sightseeing. Especially for some of the rich second-generation's racing battles, they would prioritize this place. The place was big and spacious. Zwa Xiaoduo and the other 4 arrived quickly. It was not even 11:30 yet. It was still far from the appointed time of the Liu and Wang families. Over there. Little Fatty saw the tallest rockery and ran over excitedly with a few people. This place had a high vantage point. It was the best place to watch the show. No, it was the best place to watch the battle. In the end, they went over to take a look. Fuck, little hero, you said angrily. What does it have to do with your family? Why are you here so early to occupy this place? Who are you trying to ambush? It turned out that this place had already been taken by someone else. When the young man who had taken the lead saw little hero Yu's arrival, his face instantly twisted. He obviously knew little hero Yu. When the other party saw little hero Yu, he did not dare to delay. He stood up and said, Young master Yu, what are you doing here? I'm here to watch the show. I think this place is pretty good. It's just that there are a lot of people. Can you guys change to another place? Little fatty said matter-of-factly. Cough, cough. All right. The person did not hesitate at all. He quickly led his people away. Thanks a lot. I'll treat you to a meal when I'm free, little hero Yu shouted. Which family are they from? Zwa Xiaoduo asked. They're from the Wu family. Little fatty said. They must be here to watch the show. This show will definitely be exciting. We're not the only ones who want to sit on the mountain and watch the tigers fight. Zwa Xiaoduo was speechless. Were all the aristocratic families in Shangjing so free? A battle to the death between 2 families, and there were actually, so many people watching. Because, after the Wu family left, they did not leave the place. Instead, they retreated to a few trees. However, when they chose a few large trees with dense foliage and huge canopies to climb up, they immediately started arguing. There were already many people hiding in the canopies, seeing that the Wu family had chosen more than 10 trees in succession, and there were actually people on them. Zwa Xiaoduo directly became Spartan. How many aristocratic families were watching from the sidelines? Fuck, did they really think they were watching a show? Even if the two trees were a family, after the series of events just now, at least 10 families would be watching from the sidelines. Fuck this. Little Hero You was also speechless. Seeing that the 6 people from the Wu family could not find a place to hide, they actually turned back and found a small rockery next to the largest rockery to lean on. Little Hero, you could not help but ask, who are they? So many people? Are they all so free? That person from the Wu family sounded very depressed. Except for the Wang family and the Liu family, the top 10 families are basically all here. Fuck, is it really that popular? Little Hero You, what are they all here for? I don't know, probably a few families are going to take action. What about your Wu family? Our Wu family will see the situation and respond accordingly. Not only Zhuo and Zhuo were dumbfounded, but even Little Hero You was confused. Judging from the Wu family's tone, see the situation? See what situation? How would they respond to the situation? Was he planning to make a move as well? Little Hero You scratched his head, and so did Little Hero Zhuo. They originally wanted to secretly watch the show and join in the fun, but in the end, it directly looked like a sea of people died so far. This battle between the main characters and the future had forcibly created a feeling of a popular celebrities concert. The main characters had not yet arrived, but the audience was already full. Chapter 1121. The Liu and Wang families are really popular. So Xiaoduo sighed. According to the time, they had already arrived very early. Who would have thought that they would be the last to arrive among the crowd? He was really speechless about this. However, with a local gangster like the wandering hero accompanying them, the result was always good. Time passed by slowly. In the blink of an eye, midnight had already passed. Swoosh, 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 that a series of figures flew over at high speed in the air like big birds. There were 10 people in a row, each of them full of energy and good cultivation. The person in the lead had a square face and was tall and burly. He looked to be about 27 or 28 years old, and there was a hint of anger on his face that could not be erased. After that person arrived, he first bowed in a circle and said loudly, "There are many spectators today. I, Lu Laosi, would like to greet all of you. This battle is to settle an old score with the Wang family from a few years ago. I would like to ask all of you to be a witness." There were people in the shadows, on the rockery, on the big trees, and in the pits that everyone responded, "You're too kind, Master Lu. Don't worry about it. We've made a bet. Lu Laosi, don't let us lose money. Remember to say hi if you can't win." So Xiaoduo was even more dumbfounded. This atmosphere, it's like a concert. Zhuo was also puzzled. Since those people are going to speak, what's the point of hiding in advance? It's better to just stand there and watch. The wandering hero explained, "If you stand out and show your face, if this matter gets out of hand, some things are better known than seen. If you hide something, you can deny it. Even if things get out of hand, you can still say that you didn't go." I didn't know that. Zhuo also felt incredulous. People in the capital really know how to play. I'm really a country bumpkin. At this moment, there was a whistling sound from another direction. In a flash, the people from the Wang family also rushed over. The Wang clan's group also consisted of 10 people, and their leader was the Wang clan's 5th master. Both sides had the same combat strength, with a fairy leading the team and 9 peak returnants profound realm experts. There were rules for a duel. The 10 of them fought a bloody battle, with no regard for life or death. This was the rule of the battle between the aristocratic families in Shangjing. Both sides only sent 10 people. There were 4 people behind the Liu family, but they were just ordinary inner core realm cultivators. There were also 4 people behind the Wang family. They were here to collect the corpses. Their cultivation was relatively weak, and they were not included in the battle prowess. Since they had come to the final battle, they had to be prepared to die here. They had to prepare people to collect their corpses in advance so that they wouldn't all die and have their corpses exposed in the wilderness. Zhuo looked at the Liu family's 4th son, who seemed to be only 27 or 28 years old. She could not help but sigh and say, "This man for the Liu family is the old principal's 4th brother." The old principal has 99 brothers. Since he is the fourth, he should be at least 200 years old, right? Why does he look so young? Sigh. So Xiaoduo was really upset at this moment. She thought of Yuanyue's wrinkled skin and white hair, and then looked at her fourth brother who was so young. God knows how much the old principal has endured. So Xiaoduo took a deep breath. Out on the battlefield, Liu Laosi, the Wang clan's fifth master, was wearing a royal blue robe. He raised his head and looked at the opposite side with disdain. Liu Jingyun, are you so impatient to die? A duel, haha. For years ago, you didn't get beaten enough? Liu Laosi said indifferently. The duel has already been decided. There is no need to say anything more. This duel will determine victory and defeat, as well as life and death. Wang Wu, let's fight. At this moment, there was only blood in his eyes. He looked up at Wang Wu and said indifferently, your Wang clan is crazy. You dug up my sister's grave. Today is just the beginning of this debt. Let's settle it bit by bit. Today, either you die or I die. The Wang clan's fifth master narrowed his eyes and said indifferently, since you were so close to your sister, then I will be merciful today and send you to meet your sister. I will let you and your sister reunite in the netherworld. You won't be lonely in the netherworld. Send you to meet your sister. These words caused Liu Jingyun's eyes to suddenly become filled with rage and grief. Clang! A long saber was unsheathed. He gritted his teeth and said, come on. Why, just the two of us? The Wang clan's fifth master mocked. Do you know the rules? Liu Jingyun laughed loudly. Who will take the first victory? Behind him, an old man in his 50s stepped out slowly. Fourth master, I will take the first round. On the opposite side, a thin middle-aged man in his 40s revealed a cold smile on his face. He also took a step forward. Fifth master, I will take the first round. Wang Wu gave the same cold smile and waved his hand to stop him, saying, Liu Jingyun, today only brought 10 people? Liu Jingyun said sarcastically, Wang Binren, could it be that your Wang clan only brought 20 people? Wang Binren chuckled and said, that's all I have to say. Let's begin. Before he finished speaking, the two people who had already appeared rushed up like a whirlwind. Then, they tangled together in a desperate posture. The moment these two people made their move, it was an extreme tactic of fighting speed with their lives on the line. This kind of fighting method was rare, even in this kind of place with the title of decisive battle. It was because everyone was old acquaintances. Although Shangjing was big, there were only so many superclans and people in these superclans. In the past, even if they didn't agree with each other and fought, they would often hold back. Even if they really saw blood, they would stop at the last moment and not go too far. It was precisely because of this that they were very familiar with each other's routines. At this moment, the life and death battle was exceptionally fierce. The two people jumped up and down, stirring up the wind and whistling. In the dark night sky, it was as if the gates of hell had opened and thousands of ghosts had come out. Behind Wang Binren, a middle-aged man came out with a sword and sneered, opposite Liu clan, come out and die. With a long whistle, a man in black rushed out from behind Liu Jingyun without saying a word and attacked. Another pair. Then, the remaining people of the two clans began to fight each other. New and old grudges were all settled today. Survival of the fittest, survival of the fittest, survival of the fittest. After a while, only Liu Jingyun and Wang Binren were left in the field who hadn't made a move. The 18 of them shouted loudly as they fought fiercely against each other. Both sides understood their positions and had already decided to fight to the death. Even if there were people around watching the battle, both sides didn't care. They only had eyes for each other and the decisive battle. The hero frowned and said, so what do you think? So Xiaoduo frowned at this moment. There was no other reason. It was because in Zhou Xiaoduo's view, the Liu clan now had the overall upper hand, and it was in every pair. But this result, at least logically, should never have happened. The two sides agreed to fight. The Liu clan took the initiative, and the Wang clan accepted the challenge. Both sides' positions were clear and difficult to reconcile. This battle was a fight to the death. Since the Wang clan accepted the challenge, They had a similar understanding of each other's strength. They had considered the combat forces sent out. How could such a one-sided situation occur? Especially when the battle was one-sided, the leader of the Wang clan, Lord Wang Wu, was still smiling, calm and unhurried. This was outrageous, absolutely unreasonable. Wang Binren said indifferently, "LV Jingyun, you've really come prepared today. You've actually given each of us a precious treasure like the immortal ascension pill. You're really generous." LV Jingyun said lightly, "To deal with your Wang clan, I don't need to ruin the future of my 9 brothers." He slowly pulled out his sword, and blood appeared in his eyes. He said, "Wang Binren, now only you and I are free. Did you come here just to say some meaningless words? Or are you counting on your eloquence to compete with me?" Wang Binren laughed and slowly pulled out his long sword. The long sword in the scabbard violently rubbed against the scabbard and immediately made a sound like a dragon's roar, shaking the night sky. The sound spread far and wide. He smiled sinisterly. "LV Jingyun, since you can't wait to meet your sister Huang Quan, how can I not fulfill your wish?" He suddenly waved his hand and shouted, "LV Jingyun, today we'll settle the old and new grudges." From his tone, it seemed that he was going to rush up and fight. LV Jingyun roared and leaped into the air, about to use the LV clan's secret sword. The LV clan had always been famous for their secret sword techniques, but this 4th master LV used a sword. He used the sword as a sword and used the sword as a sword. Just as the 2 sides were about to engage in battle, the curtains to the final battle were about to be drawn. However, at this moment, 10 figures flashed across the sky like lightning, and a loud laughter suddenly rang out. "Lord Wang Wu, please give this battle to our Zhong clan." As he spoke, a long sword flashed and was already at LV Jingyun's neck. LV Jingyun waved his sword to block and smiled coldly, as if he was not surprised. "Zhong Qinghuan, your Zhong clan has come in after all." Zhong Qinghuan pressed his sword and said with a sinister smile, "You sent letters of challenge to both our clans at the same time. LV Jingyun, you're quite bold." LV Jingyun said angrily, "What is your Zhong clan? Is it worth our LV clan to send a letter of challenge?" Zhong Qinghuan said, "LV Jingyun, you sent a letter of challenge and saw that the situation was critical, but you refused to admit it. You're so shameless." As he spoke, he and Wang Binren attacked at the same time. The tide-like attacks pressed LV Jingyun until he couldn't breathe. A loud laugh sounded. "Wang Binren, you sent a letter of challenge to my Wu clan first, but you sent a letter of challenge to the LV clan later. Who dares to challenge you?" The 6 people from the Wu clan who had offended the wandering hero jumped out together and joined the battle without any explanation. The situation of the battle changed again. "Wu Yinhao, the one who sent you a letter of challenge, is me, Yin Jiping. Don't find a wrong opponent." In the shadows, another clan's people rushed out. Almost at the same time, people began to emerge from the tree like dumplings. "Yin Jiping, you dare to challenge my Lu clan? Watch out for my sword." "LV Jingyun, you dare to challenge my Huangfu clan, but you sneaked here." The battlefield, which was originally only 20 people, suddenly expanded to more than 300 people in the blink of an eye. All the participants were fighting in pairs, fighting to the death. Everyone's eyes were red, but their mouths were constantly shouting words that even they themselves didn't believe. "You sent me a letter of challenge. I'm coming. Since it's a duel, why do you have to invite others? You're too shameless." "LV Jingyun, how many clans did you invite? Didn't you only invite me? My Shan clan didn't do anything to you. Why do you want a duel? Since you want a duel, don't be a coward. Come and fight. It's useless to say more. Let's see who's the real deal." Since it's a duel, it's also a duel of life and death. Not only Zhou Xiaoduo and Zhou Xiaoyan, but the wandering hero was also stunned by this scene. "No wonder my dad always says that I look mischievous, but when it comes to the thickness of my skin, I'm far from qualified. It turns out that it's true. I'm indeed thin-skinned." The little fatty muttered to himself with his eyes wide open. Zhou Xiaoduo and Zhou Xiaoyan felt that their horizons had been broadened today. So this was how the big clans of Shangjing fought. There was no need for any reason or evidence. If they wanted to join the battle, they just had to shout, "Why did you offend me?" Then they could go up. As for the reason, right or wrong, what were those? I've lived long enough to see that justice is in the heart, and right or wrong is determined by strength. Zhuo Xiaoduo and Zhuo Xiaoyan's hearts were tumbling. The big clans of Shangjing were indeed old clans. They had truly carried out the words "strength is king" to the extreme, vividly and incisively. Tonight's battle seemed to be a chaotic one, and it had already become a farce. However, it was still a decisive battle that could kill people. Every clan had prepared something like a letter of challenge early on as evidence. After tomorrow's battle, even if the Imperial Security Bureau came looking for trouble, they could use it face to face. It was someone else who challenged them to a duel. How could they be afraid of a battle? Even if they didn't want to fight, they couldn't lower their clan's reputation. Since it was for the sake of their clan's reputation, the clan would naturally use their strength to smooth things over. As for who was right, who was wrong, and who was wronged, was that important? The little fatty held a jade pendant in his hand. It was a protective jade pendant given to him by his clan. Once his life was in danger, his ancestors' spiritual will would instantly transform into an incarnation to take action. The little fatty chose a rock and covered himself tightly. Suddenly, he roared, "Ouch! Fuck! Someone actually plotted against me. Wang Binren, you're courting death." As he spoke, he ordered, "Come, quickly take revenge for me. Destroy all these people from the Wang clan." The hidden weapon just now was released by someone from the Wang clan. Otherwise, it would be the Huangfu clan, the Shen clan, the Ying clan, the Zhou clan, or the Zhong clan. In short, these few clans are the biggest suspects. Sneak attacking the future head of the Yu clan means that they are enemies with the Yu clan. We can't let them off easily. Quickly take action and take revenge for me. They actually dare to hit me. They really have guts. They didn't even stop her for a moment. But a graceful figure passed between the two, and with a crisp crash, the two ice sculptures turned into pink ice chips on the ground. They died without an intact body, and not even bones were left. The two souls that had just perished floated out. While the two souls were still in a daze and couldn't believe that they had already perished, two streaks of light, one white and one black, flashed past like dragons. The two souls completely disappeared without a trace. Obviously, dying without an intact body and bones was not the end. There was also the destruction of the soul, beyond redemption. The tip of the spirit-snatching sword flashed with cold light, staring at Wang Binren. If Zhuo Xiaoyan wanted to kill him immediately, Wang Binren would have died long ago. However, Zhuo Xiaoyan wanted to use Wang Binren to find the Wang family and kill the people who were helping the Wang family. After all, regardless of whether they were friend or foe, they were all dressed in black. Perhaps they had their own way of distinguishing, but Zhuo Xiaoyan didn't know the details. She was afraid that she would kill the wrong person, so she only chased after Wang Binren. And the people who were helping Wang Binren were definitely enemies. Otherwise, with Wang Binren's strength and cultivation, how could he resist Zhuo Xiaoyan's sword attack? In a flash, two more mystical cultivators of the Wang family barely avoided their opponents and came to help with injuries. Zhuo Xiaoyan chased after them, and the frost sword chi burned again, freezing the two people who came to help into ice sculptures again. The two of them were only at the mystical realm, and they were also injured, so their combat strength was inevitably reduced. Even if they had the heart to risk their lives, how could they resist Zhuo Xiaoyan's frost chi? Zhuo Xiaoyan didn't even bother to summon them. Instead, he simply added a layer of frost to the original foundation. Immediately, the two of them followed in the footsteps of the previous two and turned into ice dust that filled the sky. The cold wave continued to surge, and the frost sword continued to chase after them. On the other side, Zhuo Xiaoyan's killing intent was even stronger. With a flick of her finger, she beheaded the dozen people who were injured by the hexagram of the starry sky, indestructible stone. Zhuo Xiaoduo's experience in controlling the situation of a battle was far above Zhuo Xiaoyan's. Zhuo Xiaoyan was afraid of accidentally injuring her own people, so she came up with a strategy of encircling Wang Binren and attacking the reinforcements. It seemed like she was targeting Wang Binren, but in reality, she wanted to use Wang Binren to eliminate all the reinforcements. Zhuo Xiaoduo, on the other hand, planned before making a move. He had already targeted many of the enemies who didn't belong to his side and killed them with a single strike. He acted really quickly, and his body flashed past like a ghost. Beheading, removing the rings, snatching the weapons, a series of actions were done in one breath, without any hesitation. Ever since the Yu family, Zhuo Xiaoduo and Zhuo Xiaoyan joined the battle, the situation of the battle changed drastically. The originally chaotic battle turned into an overwhelming advantage for their side. The Wang family, Shun family, Huangfu family, Zhong family, Yin family, and Zhou family were defeated like a landslide and were in imminent danger. On the other hand, although the Yu family, Wu family, Lu family, and Lu family had fewer people, their morale was high, and they were fighting fiercely, suppressing their enemies. With the addition of Zhuo Xiaoduo and Zhuo Xiaoyan, they quickly reduced the other side's fighting strength. Their side, which originally had fewer people, suddenly became a force of numbers. Moreover, it was becoming more and more like they were bullying the weak with numbers. For example, the two who had rushed to Wang Binren's aid but were instantly frozen into ice sculptures. They did not come to Wang Binren's aid after defeating their respective opponents. They had only forced their original opponents to retreat and had paid a considerable price for it. However, not only were their opponents not defeated and not dead, their combat power was basically intact. Naturally, they turned to help their own people. That was to say, the original 2-on-2 immediately turned into a 4-on-2 or even a 2-on-1. Naturally, they had a great advantage and a great advantage. The momentum of victory and defeat was immediately locked in. This situation would only become more and more intense. It wasn't completely one-sided yet, but all of this happened too quickly. Of course, there was also that the moment Zhuo Xiaoduo and Zhuo Xiaoyan joined the battle, there was a real factor of death and injury in the battle. When the big families fought, although they had no choice but to help out of consideration for their feelings, they still prioritized not killing people if possible. After all, the protagonists of this battle were the Lu family and the Wang family. The main casualties should be from these two families. Before the outcome of the battle between the two clans was clear, the other clans didn't dare to seriously involve themselves in the battle. They just needed to make their stance clear. The people they sent were basically at the same level as the two clans in the final battle. After all, only the Wang family and the Lu family were fighting to the death. If they really couldn't win, the other families could also step back to protect themselves. This was also the reason why the four guards of the Yu family, although their strength was superior, they only injured and didn't kill. One could see this tacit, unspoken rule. However, Zhuo Xiaoduo and Zhuo Xiaoyan didn't care about this. They couldn't wait to make things worse. The more people from the opposing forces died, the better. How could they show mercy? Therefore, Zhuo Xiaoduo was the one who beat the drowning dogs the moment they came up. 200 to 300 people had been fighting for a long time, but there wasn't a single casualty. In less than 5 seconds, these two fellows had already killed 20 to 30 people, as if they were vegetables. They were either frozen into dregs or had their heads rolling on the ground. The situation was extremely tragic and bloody. In the chaos, even the leader of the Zhong family, Zhong Qinghuan, was frozen by Zhuo Xiaoyan. Zhuo Xiaoduo saw an opportunity and stabbed his sword into his heart while he was still staggering. A ball of fire exploded. Zhong Qinghuan enjoyed a very short time of ice and fire. His internal organs were burned into charcoal, and his head was kicked into the air by Zhuo Xiaoduo. It didn't fall back down for a long time. Revenge for the third young master. The Zhong family members rushed over crazily, but Zhuo Xiaoduo didn't care about them. His sword flashed, and he shouted, "Watch out for my meteor sword!" With a flick of his wrist, another 7 starry sky indestructible stones flew out, knocking down the 5 attackers as soon as they made contact. Then, he continued on his way, ignoring all obstacles along the way. Ka-ka-ka-ka. 5 heads rolled on the ground, and all their weapons and rings were gone. 2 flashes of black and white light flashed, and even their souls were gone. After 2 more slashes, the remaining 2 people were dead. At this point, the Zhong family members who claimed to be here for the battle were all dead. They became the first family to be completely wiped out in this battle. At this moment, everyone, including the Liu family members, didn't expect this young man who suddenly rushed out to be so cruel. He killed people as if they were chickens, and he showed no mercy at all. Seeing this sudden change in the situation, the 2 groups of people couldn't help but be shocked. With a swoosh, they naturally split into 2 sides. On the other side, Zhuo Xiaoyan had already forced Wang Benren to a dead end. All the masters of the Wang family who came to stop him had been killed, turned into ice chips, and disappeared into the dust. However, they were a little better than the Zhong family in that Wang Benren was still alive under his Xiaoyan's tactic of deliberately going easy on the enemy and attacking reinforcements. He was barely holding on and running towards them with all his might. Under the extreme cold, Wang Benren's face was covered with a layer of frost. This low-level Skysoar realm expert was always calm no matter the situation. However, at this moment, he was in an extremely sorry state. The strength he was proud of was not worth mentioning in front of Zhuo Xiaoyan. All the people who came to stop Zhuo Xiaoyan were dead, and the others didn't dare to come over. A murderous intent flashed in Zhuo Xiaoyan's eyes as she pointed her sword at Wang Benren's heart. Meteor flash. At this moment, an unforeseen event happened. Chapter 1123. Clang. A sword suddenly blocked the spirit-snatching sword. Zhuo Xiaoyan's delicate body shook, and she almost lost her balance. 2 figures appeared out of thin air. One of them stood in front of Wang Benren. With a raise of his hand, a 5-colored light suddenly flashed. It was like a magnificent mountain that suddenly blocked in front of Zhuo Xiaoyan and completely blocked Wang Benren behind her. A majestic aura that was as vast as the sky suddenly appeared. Zhuo Xiaoyan was so shocked at this moment that he almost couldn't move. Fortunately, she could barely move, but it wasn't that she couldn't move. Zhuo Xiao channeled her telekinesis into the spirit-snatching sword. With a roar, the spirit-snatching sword emitted a cold moonlight, and a small person suddenly appeared. Ice Spirit. The temperature in the surroundings, which was extremely low, dropped sharply again. A bright moon condensed behind Zhuo Xiaoyan. In this bright moon, there was a clear figure holding a sword in one hand. It was exactly the same as Zhuo Xiaoyan's posture. From the bright moon, the sword light flashed. This was one of the moves that Zhuo Xiaoyan inherited from the Moon Lord. It was also the only move that she had truly comprehended and could use with ease. I raise my cup to invite the bright moon, and the shadow becomes 3 people. Zhuo Xiaoyan's sword was as cold as a fairy's. Ice Spirit sword, frozen snow sky. In the moonlight, a figure suddenly appeared. It was as graceful as a swan and isolated from the world. 3 different sword intents showed a strong power that complemented each other and led to the same goal. The unprecedentedly strong, extreme, cold air exploded like a bomb. The person opposite her who showed a mountain-like momentum shouted coldly, "Good swordsmanship." Whether it was the technique, intent, or path, every aspect of this stunning sword was beyond the scope of the opponent's imagination. It was supposed to be unstoppable. Fortunately, the cultivation of the person who made this move was far from enough to match such a transcendent magical sword. This gave the person opposite her a chance to resist and even counterattack. Zhuo Xiaoyan suddenly saw the colorful light flashing in front of her. It seemed that there were 5 different kinds of weapons at the same time. Each of them showed a myriad of moves and forcefully fought against her 3 swords. At the same time, a hand suddenly reached out from the chaotic sword light and grabbed Zhuo Xiaoyan in the air, intending to capture her in one move. At the same time, a person on Zhuo Xiaoduo's side also fell from the sky and hit the cat spirit sword with an extremely heavy stick. Even with Zhuo Xiaoduo's great strength, his wrist felt sore. At the same time, he felt a huge shadow looming over him. In just a moment, he seemed to have nowhere to run. It was clear that the other party's cultivation was too high, and he was using his true essence to forcefully seal his movements. Zhuo Xiaoduo felt as if his body had sunk into a swamp of sticky glue, to the point where he couldn't move at all. Zhuo Xiaoduo's mind turned, and he shouted, "Son." Before he finished his words, he suddenly turned around. Dazzling flames burst out all over his body. Zhu Rong, who had been waiting for a long time, suddenly burst out his genuine fire to the limit. Immediately, he broke through the opponent's momentum and rushed in the direction of Zhuo Xiaoyan. Although they had only met for a short time, Zhuo Xiaoduo quickly came to the conclusion that the opponent was too strong. He couldn't fight against such a strong opponent. He had to meet up with Sister Xiaoyan as soon as possible and be ready to escape. If necessary, he had to escape into the space of the Tower of Annihilation. The person who was targeting Zhuo Xiaoduo saw that the fish in the net had escaped. Just as he was about to give chase, he felt an unprecedented murderous aura, as if it came from ancient times. The tip of Zhuo Xiaoduo's sword vaguely emitted the murderous aura of a ferocious beast that had been dormant for tens of thousands of years. It was aimed at him. Although Zhuo Xiaoduo's strength was nothing to be afraid of, the murderous aura was too sharp. It was the kind of extreme sharpness that was invincible throughout the ages and could slaughter living beings like weeds. Under the threat of such murderous aura, the Wang family expert didn't dare to act rashly, even though he felt that his cultivation was much higher than his opponent's. Seeing this, Wu Yunhao of the Wu family roared, "Shameless! Shameless to the extreme. Wang family, have you forgotten the rule that Dao integration stage cultivators are not allowed to fight in the capital?" The two people on the other side turned a deaf ear to him. Following a muffled boom, Zhuo Xiaoyan staggered back with a pale face. Her body floated up quietly and rushed towards Zhuo Xiaoduo like a bolt of lightning. Clearly, she had the same idea as Zhuo Xiaoduo. At this moment, the sun and the moon converged in the sky, creating a marvelous scene of the sun and the moon shining in the sky. As the two people converged and touched each other's palms, the power of yin and yang suddenly converged and instantly neutralized the power that their opponent had to endure. The two of them stood side by side in the sky, holding hands. The spirit plunder sword emitted a chilling brilliance. Ice Spirit stood gracefully on the spirit plunder sword. An extremely cold aura rapidly condensed and was ready to be launched at any time. A speck of black aura appeared on the spirit cat sword. It was filled with murderous aura. It was the god-slaying spear, Enrich. Seeing that there was finally a battle, he couldn't wait to show off. Following Ice Spirit's example, he automatically entered the spirit cat sword. Although he was extremely weak right now, Enrich still displayed an insufferably arrogant confidence in dealing with these fellows. When I was at my peak, I could stare these small fries to death. But now, Humph, a real man doesn't talk about his past achievements. We can talk about the future that opposite them. The two black-robed people stood side by side with their hands clasped behind their backs. Looking at Zhuo Xiaoduo and Zhuo Xiaoyan in the sky, a hint of admiration flashed across their eyes. One of them said indifferently, "They are indeed peerless geniuses. They live up to their reputation. One yin and one yang, one man and one woman, one heaven and one earth, one day and one month. What a pity, what a pity." Zhuo Xiaoduo and Zhuo Xiaoyan had only exchanged one blow with the newcomers, but they knew that they were no match for these two people. Originally, they had thought about it over and over again. After 9 months of cultivation, their strength had improved again. Even if the other party sent out a Dao integration expert, the two of them would be able to put up a fight if they joined forces. But now, It seemed that they had underestimated the power of a Tao integration expert. Just the aura of the other party, which belonged to a Tao integration expert, was enough to overwhelm them. They almost couldn't bring up the desire to fight, let alone put up a fight. If it weren't for the 9 heavens, spirit spring water, and the honey of laurel to temper their divine senses, the purity of their divine senses far exceeded that of cultivators of the same level. Otherwise, they would have been captured and killed. A Tao integration expert could actually merge 10,000 Taos and borrow the power of heaven and earth to merge their aura into heaven and earth. Zhuo Xiaoduo and Yin Shursi had never encountered a battle like the one just now. They didn't even think about it. The difference between Tao integration and heaven ascension was not the difference in strength, but the difference in cultivation level. Zhuo Xiaoduo had never understood the word Tao integration so well. The 2 black-robed men looked at Zhuo Xiaoduo and Zhuo Xiaoyan with indifference on their faces. They had absolute confidence that as long as they attacked, these 2 brats wouldn't be able to escape even if they still had some trump cards up their sleeves. It was inevitable that they would be captured. The other person who had targeted Zhuo Xiaoyan earlier said expressionlessly, "It's indeed a pity that such prodigies." At this moment, an even more indifferent and hoarse voice, which concealed a monstrous fury, drifted over. "What's a pity?" This voice contained a vague feeling. It was as if an atomic bomb had been launched and was rumbling to life, preparing to explode in a predetermined area. Everyone present, including the 2 Tao integration stage super mighty figures, felt their hearts begin to thump uncontrollably. This voice seemed to be mixed with a strange rhythm. It also seemed like a large hand had firmly grasped their hearts. It was slowly kneading their hearts into the palm of the hand. Pinch, pinch. Everyone turned their heads to look at the same time. They saw a gray-robed elder shrouded in a black aura slowly descending. This person was surrounded by a black aura, and it was as if countless ferocious ghosts were charging left and right within the black aura, whistling back and forth. His eyes were like willow, the wisps as they landed on the 2 Tao integration experts of the Wang family. They flickered incessantly, and a cruel smile flashed across his face. "Kik, you, what's a pity?" So Xiaoduo immediately cried out in surprise. "Grandpa, someone is bullying me." Although he had been scared half to death by this old man before, things were different now. This call of Grandpa was especially pleasantly surprised, especially smooth, and also especially intimate. And this crisp call of Grandpa made the gray-robed elder so happy that he almost danced with joy. He was just a hair away from breaking the eerie atmosphere that he had created. He immediately became spirited. "Good boy, with Grandpa here, no one can bully you. Grandpa will help you vent your anger. Grandpa is mighty. If Grandpa didn't come, the 2 of us would have been taken away. It said that his family wants to use our blood as a sacrifice to the heavens." So Xiaoduo complained fiercely while sweet-talking. Sacrifice to the heavens. Lei Changtian was fuming with anger. He glared fiercely at the gray-robed elder, as if he wanted to eat him in one bite. "How dare they?" Zhuo Xiaoyan was shocked. She turned to Zhuo Xiaoduo and asked, "This is Grandpa?" "Yes, he's Grandpa. My biological grandpa." "Is it really Grandpa? Mom's father?" Zhuo Xiaoyan felt like she was dreaming. She couldn't believe it. "Our mom," said herself. "How can it be fake?" Zhuo Xiaoduo confirmed. "He's really our biological grandpa." Zhuo Xiaoyan didn't say anything. She looked at Lei Changtian's back with her bright eyes. She was a little surprised that his hair had become neat and tidy. When it fell down, it was still messy but now, how did it suddenly become so stylish? Behind him, Lei Changtian's heart melted at the constant calls of Grandpa, "Dear Grandpa, dear Grandpa, dear Grandpa," as well as the questions and answers from his grandson and granddaughter. Although it was a question, wasn't Xiaoduo affirming it over and over again? He, good boys, don't move. Let Grandpa teach these 2 shrimps a lesson." Lei Changtian said in a way that he thought was extremely benevolent. "Shrimps." Every single person present was dumbfounded. They were facing two Tao integration stage experts. How could he say shrimps? What would be considered a big fish in his eyes? Would he only be considered a dish when two heavenly kings appeared? Chapter 1124. The others did not face Lei Changtian directly, so it was still all right. However, the two Tao integration experts who bore the brunt of his attack felt a sense of danger from the bottom of their hearts. It was a feeling of immense and fatal danger. Every time they encountered an undefeatable opponent, this feeling would spontaneously grow. It was real and not fake. Speaking of this intuition, most probably everyone had it, but not everyone wished to encounter such a situation. It was an indescribable and bone-chilling sense of retreat. Fiendish cultivator? You're a fiendish cultivator. One of the Tao integration experts narrowed his eyes and looked at Lei Changtian even more cautiously. He stared at the black qi rising from the other party's body, then at the old man's somewhat weathered but unruly and ferocious appearance. He vaguely felt a sense of familiarity. However, as he had not been on the battlefield for thousands of years, his memory was already somewhat blurry. Moreover, he had never seen the demon ancestor before. He had only seen the demon ancestor fight in the sky from afar. Lei Changtian's current benevolent appearance was deliberately faked. It was completely different from the demon ancestor's battle form. The difference between heaven and earth was like heaven and earth. However, no matter what, it was imperative to pin a big label on the other party first. So, you're a fiendish cultivator. The Tao integration expert said indifferently, you're just a fiendish cultivator. No matter how powerful you are, how dare you come to our Shangjing city and be so arrogant and despotic? Do you want to die? Lei Changtian laughed strangely. At this moment, he really felt very amused. It seemed that no one had dared to pin a label on him like this for more than 10,000 years. This brat from the Wang family was really bold. Even if Zhou Changchang and Yu Xingchen were here, they would definitely not dare to say that he was a fiendish cultivator. You're quite bold, aren't you? However, he did not know whether he wanted to incite the crowd's hatred or pin him down with these words. So what if I'm a fiendish cultivator? The demon ancestor still had a benevolent smile on his face. You're a brat from the Wang family? Why haven't I seen you before? The Tao integration stage expert narrowed his eyes and said indifferently, I've been fighting at the border for thousands of years. Even though a demonic cultivator like you has a high cultivation base, you don't know the iron-blooded pride of the men of martial flame. Regardless of whether he went to battle or not, whether he was a man or not, at the very least, he had to give himself the image of a righteous hero. If you dare to make a move on me, you will be making an enemy out of the Yanwu Empire and the Astral Soul's human race. Lei Changtian tilted his head. Thousands of years of fierce battles at the border. Why haven't I seen you before? Did you dream of going to the border? Iron-blooded pride? Are you even worthy of mentioning this word? At the end of his speech, Lei Changtian's expression darkened visibly. How could a person who didn't even fight at the border be so brazen and shameless to say something like that? If there was no one familiar with the border, wouldn't such a shameless person become a hero? How could a true hero, a true iron-blooded man, endure such humiliation? The demon ancestor was infuriated, and the black aura around him became more and more pervasive. A terrifying aura instantly enveloped the entire area. At this moment, everyone felt as if they were at the end of the world, and their futures were all gone. Little Fatty ran out with a terrified expression and quietly hid behind the Yu family guards. The 4 Yu family guards' faces were pale, but they still surrounded the little Fatty to protect him, their eyes filled with extreme fear and worship. What's going on? Little Fatty asked. Young master, please don't speak. One of the Yu family guards' lips turned blue. He trembled as he transmitted his voice. Young master, you're really powerful. The Yu family guard hurriedly transmitted his voice. What's going on? What's going on? Your decision to help Swiss Xiaoduo is really too correct. The guard felt his blood rush to his head, and he stuttered. This is the demon ancestor. Tada! Ga. Little Fatty was stunned when he heard that. In an instant, he understood everything that was happening. His eyes widened and his eyes rolled back. His legs kicked and he fell backward. His entire body was knocked out, that he was really knocked out. As the saying goes, a person's life is the shadow of a tree. The demon ancestor's reputation was almost equivalent to the non-poisonous sorcerer of the Umno alliance. Even if he was slightly less threatening than the non-poisonous sorcerer to the martial artists of the three continents, he was still at the level of a nuclear bomb in the hearts of ordinary people. Although this old man had been fighting for the continent all his life, he had always been known for being temperamental, cruel, and bloodthirsty. He would directly kill someone he didn't like. Basically, no one on the continent would do such a thing, but the demon ancestor would. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been given the nickname Demon Ancestor. It was not rare for this demon ancestor to kill a few scum of the human race. It could even be described with 4 words. He was familiar with it. That the Yu family had always been recognized as the #1 family in Shangjing. The Heavenly King of the Right would let the family carry out the education of the strong whenever he was free. You don't have to form a relationship with them, but you can offend them casually. With the identity of the Heavenly King of the Right, there were only a few people that he needed to recognize as someone he couldn't casually offend. At most, it was the group of peak people in the Astral Souls continent. What was even more coincidental was that he was one of the few people who could obtain the images of the strong. The portrait of the demon ancestor was impressively ranked first on the list of people that he absolutely couldn't offend. Not only could he not offend him, he couldn't provoke him. If he offended the minister or even the minister's wife, the Heavenly King of the Right could go and act coquettishly. Cough, cough, while at most he would pay a little price. There would always be a way out. But if he offended the demon ancestor, even his own father, the Emperor Zhai Xing, couldn't persuade him. He would definitely die. Of course, it wasn't that no one could persuade the demon ancestor. For example, the minister could intercede, but the minister would never go. Don't look at how the demon ancestor was afraid of the minister. Every time he saw him, it was like a mouse seeing a cat, or a naughty child seeing a strict father. But every time the minister saw the demon ancestor, the minister's heart was actually very fucked up. If he could not meet the demon ancestor, he would. With such a vicious cycle, over time, the demon ancestor became the #1 existence in the entire Astral Souls that couldn't be provoked. As the guards of the young clan head, they were only allowed to participate in this kind of training when they were really sent to the little fatty's side. He took out the treasured portraits and let them identify them one by one. The little kid doesn't know any better. If he offends these people, you must be the first to stop him and apologize. Now, at this moment, they had just been trained for a short while, and they had already met a living one, and the distance between them was less than 20 to 30 feet. The most important thing was that everyone was on the same side. They were in the same group. Oh, I really didn't expect our young clan head to be such a big lucky start at well. Although the 4 guards felt that they were in the same group as the demon ancestor, they still couldn't help but be frightened. It was so scary. Oh my God. So Xiaoduo's grandfather was actually the demon ancestor. But, after so many years, they seem to have never heard of the demon ancestor having a daughter. Could it be that this old man had become an old tree in recent decades? No, that would be too disrespectful. It should be that the old clam gave birth to pearls. No, it should be that this old man had a wild youth. A pear blossom suppressing a begonia. So, he had a daughter? His daughter was married and had a grandson and a granddaughter? That was probably the only explanation. Otherwise, there was no way to explain Zhua Xiaoduo's age. Or perhaps this old man recognized her as his adopted daughter. That wasn't impossible. But what about her biological grandfather? What about her biological grandfather? Over here, the demon ancestor was already arguing with the 2 Dao integration stage super mighty figures of the Wang clan. The 4 guards of the Yu clan looked at the 2 Dao integration stage super mighty figures of the Wang clan with pity in their eyes. Sai, your Wang clan is so unlucky. So unlucky. I really pity you. Your luck is really... Sai, I've never gloated so much in my life. I really want to laugh. Hold it in. Fearing that they would be discovered, they hurriedly turned their heads away. They then looked around and saw the dumbfounded and confused expressions on the faces of the members of the 10 superclans. The sense of relief and superiority hidden in their hearts instantly surged forth. It's great to be in a U clan. It's great to have people on the top floor. Let's open our eyes and look at the dumbfounded expressions on these guys' faces. Do you know what kind of big shot you've encountered? Hee. Look at all of your stupid cunts. You have no idea what you've encountered and what you're about to encounter. This is awesome. Long live the young master. The young master's actions were really in the bag. However, he actually fainted from fright that looking at the fainted U-clan super mighty figures, the guard sighed with emotion. What did it mean by fortune favors fools? This was it. Your cultivation base is quite high. May I know your name? The Dao integration stage, super mighty figure of the Wong clan, felt that he was suffocating more and more. In order to dispel this extreme sense of oppression, he spoke again and again. The shock in his heart grew stronger and stronger. Could it be that this old man is able to form such a powerful aura? Could it be that he's a chaotic prime? Otherwise, how could there be such a powerful sense of oppression? Are you the one who asked about my name? The demon ancestor's eyes narrowed. Sigh, let me say this first. Everyone here, don't move. In the distance, a few members of the Shun clan saw that things were not going well and wanted to quietly escape from this troublesome place. However, with a wave of the demon ancestor's hand, the 7 people who had just made a move were already grabbed by him and placed on the ground in front of him. However, Lei Chantian said angrily, "How can they be so weak? I just grabbed them lightly and they were crushed." Without exception, the 7 people on the ground were all turned into a pile of mud by his claw. You are in me, I am in you, and you are in me. They could no longer be separated. So Xiao Duo rolled his eyes. You didn't control your strength well? Only a fool would believe that. However, Grandpa's way of showing off was really too low. Every day, a large number of people complain that I'm too short. Today, I've learned a sentence to use against all of you. It's not that I'm too short, it's that you're all too fast. Ha ha, this is awesome. Chapter 1125. However, Lei Chantian had already turned around with a benevolent expression on his face. My dear grandson, my dear granddaughter, come over here and let your dear grandpa take a good look at you. Zhou Xiaoduo had an innocent and obedient expression on her face as she called out cutely, "Hello, Grandpa. Good, ha. Good child." Lei Chantian was overjoyed. Zhou Xiaonian realized that she seemed to have misunderstood her grandpa and felt a little embarrassed. She lowered her head and called out shyly, "Hello, Grandpa." Good. Lei Changtian's old face was almost blooming with a smile. He lamented, "Grandpa has been in seclusion all these years, and I haven't been by your side since you were young. It's really been hard on the two of you." The Xiaoduo coughed and thought to herself, "We've been under the care of our parents, so we really haven't felt like we've been wronged." This old man didn't know how to speak. You should have said that you didn't fulfill your responsibility as a grandpa and felt guilty. It would have been best if you could make up for all the birthday gifts you've owed us all these years, but you definitely couldn't say that we've been wronged. It's good that Grandpa is back now. Zhou Xiaoduo, who was cursing in his heart, looked as if he had found someone to rely on. With Grandpa around, I'm suddenly not afraid of anything anymore. This sentence was also what Zhou Xiaoduo was thinking, and there was no falsehood in it at all. After all, he had the backing of a peak expert in this world. From now on, he would become a 3rd-generation cultivator and obtain the qualifications to lie down and win in life. This had always been Zhou Xiaoduo's biggest dream. Now that his dream had come true, he was naturally elated and complacent. This was the first time in his life that he felt so confident when facing a powerful enemy. It felt so good to have someone to rely on. Good child, you're so obedient. Lei Chantian suddenly felt a strong sense of familial happiness, and he was so happy that his eyes narrowed into slits. Suddenly, He turned his head and said, "Don't move." The two Tao integration stage powerful beings had wanted to slip away a long time ago. Now that he saw this old man coaxing his grandson, if he didn't leave now, when would he? But who would have thought that, just as he thought about it, before he could put it into action, the old man turned around and warned him. Senior Devil Cultivator, tonight's matter is a bit of karma between us juniors. Since Senior has condescended and intervened in this karma, how can we not give Senior face? This matter will naturally end here. Wang Jiajia replied, "We're all members of the Astral Souls continent, so there's no need for internal strife. Tonight, the plan to lure with Xiaoduo by taking the opportunity of suppressing the Liu family had completely failed. It had even escalated to the point where their lives were in danger. Therefore, it was important for them to say a few words and retreat quickly. Although the old man in front of him was powerful, he had already given him enough face by putting in a good word for him. It was no different from admitting defeat. Would he really dare to kill two high-level Tao integration stage cultivators of the War God clan? The two of them were Tao integration stage cultivators and were among the most powerful beings on the continent. As long as he still had the big picture in mind, he wouldn't act so recklessly and suddenly damage the strength of the continent. The Astral Souls continent was already weak. Who would be willing to kill two Tao integration stage powerful beings over such a small matter? Family? Are you worthy? The demon ancestor opened his eyes and suddenly stretched out his hand. The void demonic hand appeared again and grabbed the Tao integration stage powerful being who had just spoken. He stood at attention in front of him and slapped him across the face. How dare your Wang family say that you're family with my family? Did I give you face? Or did I give Wang Feihong face? The surroundings were so silent that one could probably hear a strand of hair falling to the ground. This slap was like a thunderclap from the 9 heavens in the silence of all living beings. Slap! The crisp sound reverberated throughout the entire Dingjun stage. Everyone was instantly shocked to the extreme. One of the reasons why they were shocked was because of this old man's cultivation base. This man from the Wang family was a Tao integration stage powerful being. Even in the entire world, he was still a famous and vicious figure. And yet, this old man had grabbed him with a casual wave of his hand. He was a Tao integration stage, super mighty figure, but he was completely powerless to resist. It was as if he was grabbing a chicken. No, even grabbing a chicken would not be this easy. That movement, that ease. It should be like grabbing a chicken in one's pants. The second reason why they were shocked was this old man crazy? Just now, he had directly mentioned Wang Feihong's name. That was Heavenly Monarch Feihong, the god of war, the idol of the entire Astral Souls continent and the entire human race. Wang Feihong. It did not matter if one spoke ill of the Wang clan, especially the current Wang clan. It did not matter if one spoke ill of the Wang clan. However, one could not speak ill of Wang Feihong. Directly mentioning Wang Feihong was blasphemous to the hero of the entire Star Soul human race. Blood was about to spurt out of the Wang family Tao integration stage powerful being's eyes as he glared at the demon patriarch. Although he was unable to move, he gritted his teeth and spat out, "Old bastard, you're dead." As far as he was concerned, no matter how high the old man's cultivation was, the old man was dead for sure after he had spoken those words without thinking. The other members of the Wu family and the Liu family all sighed in their hearts. This senior had misspoken. Oh, Lei Changtian cocked his head to the side in surprise. So serious. How dare you insult our ancestor? You insult the god of war. You're dead. Your entire family is dead. The Wang family Tao integration stage powerful beings' eyes were filled with humiliation and rage, as well as a hint of elation. Old man, it's too late for you to apologize now. You're already standing on the opposite side of the entire Astral Souls continent. Lei Changtian faltered upon hearing this. I'm standing on the opposite side of the entire Astral Souls continent? Just because I insulted that brat Wang Feihong? The Wang family Dao integration stage powerful being's expression was unyielding as he straightened his neck. I was captured by you because I wasn't as strong as you, so I admit defeat. You can kill me or torture me as you wish, but you insulted the god of war. Your crimes are unforgivable, and you deserve to die. All warriors of the entire Astral Souls continent want to kill you. This is a major issue of right and wrong. We can't be confused. He looked at Lei Changtian with a stern expression. Insulting the god of war is a crime that deserves to be punished. Lei Changtian's eyes dimmed as he said, "Is it really that serious? But it's not a big deal. There are many people nearby. If I kill all of you, who will know what I said or did? It's just a small matter of silencing people. It's not worth mentioning." Before he finished speaking, Lei Changtian's aura suddenly surged. Everyone present, regardless of whether they were enemies or allies, was enveloped by this powerful aura. No one was able to move. Everyone present was inexplicably frightened, and they felt a chill run down their spines. With the astonishing strength displayed by this old man, it would be a piece of cake for him to kill everyone present. This was definitely not a joke. Even you family members who knew the true identity of this old man still felt a chill run down their spines. This old man had always done things his own way and didn't follow the rules. So what if he killed a few people? Please don't kill us as well. We're on the same side. We're on the same side. The Wang family's Dao integration stage expert panicked when he saw that his words seemed to have provoked the old man in front of him. However, he didn't show it on his face. He forced himself to activate his cultivation to the limit and said, "Justice is in people's hearts. How can black and white be confused? Old man, you rely on your cultivation to run amok. Even if you can kill all of us, can you kill all the people in the world? This kind of perverse behavior is going against the heavens. The heavens have eyes and will definitely kill you. You can't redeem yourself for blaspheming the heroes of our continent." What the fuck? Lei Zhangtian was frightened by his righteous gaze. He thought to himself, back then, Wang Feihong was ridden and beaten by me 7 or 8 times a day for more than 300 years. So, even if I died 100,000 times, it wouldn't be enough for me? The more he thought about it, the angrier he became. In the end, he cursed out loud. Even if Wang Feihong was here now, I would still beat him up if I wanted to, let alone you. Lei Changtian snorted and said, "Look at what kind of people he raised. Every day, other than talking about the war god family, what other fucking business do they have? How many people have your Wang family harmed by using Wang Feihong's name as a protective talisman? Do you really think there are no records?" Lei Changtian became angrier and angrier as he spoke. He slapped the Dao integration stage expert in front of him. War god family. What an impressive title. Wang Feihong sacrificed himself for the continent back then, and his reputation is indeed very high. I admire him and respect him. However, how much has his reputation been ruined by you unfilial descendants over the years? If Wang Feihong were still alive, let me tell you, he would be the first to destroy your Wang family. With Wang Feihong's violent temper, he could kill everyone in your Wang family. Lei Changtian slapped the Dao integration stage expert's face. Can you be more shameless? With your cultivation base, why can't you defeat a general at the front line? Aren't you just afraid of death? Don't you dare to go to the front line? Why are you pretending in front of me? Even if your ancestors come back to life, you're fucking unqualified in front of me. Do you understand? Do you have to live off your ancestors' wealth? Do you have to carry the flag of your ancestors' war god family as a shell? If you don't carry that flag, won't your Wang family starve to death? Carrying the good reputation of your ancestors, doing evil things, and putting bad labels on others. You're so bad that you've grown sores all over your heads and pus all over your feet. However, you have to put yourself on the moral high ground in everything you do. As Lei Changtian spoke, he suddenly stopped slapping the Dao integration stage expert's face. He looked at the sky with a hint of melancholy. He thought of his brothers in the past and saw the current corruption of the Wang family. He couldn't help but feel sad. An extremely uncomfortable feeling suddenly welled up in his heart. I don't know if you feel particularly humiliated. Chapter 1126. Lei Changtian looked up into the sky and heaved a long sigh. This Tao integration stage, super mighty figure of the Wang family, was enraged after being slapped repeatedly. What right do you have to criticize our ancestors? Just because you're so powerful? Although you're powerful, justice is in everyone's heart. You've insulted the Wang family and the god of war. You'll definitely get what you deserve. Old bastard, you won't be able to absolve yourself even if you die 10,000 times. Behind him, the members of the Wang family and the other families started to clamor at the same time. You've insulted the god of war. 100 deaths won't atone for that. 1,000 cuts won't be enough to atone for your sins. Everyone could see that. This person seemed to have some scruples. He didn't want to kill them. In the face of such a powerful being, there was really no other way except to use righteousness to suppress him. They couldn't beat him. Absolve myself from the blame. The public enemy of the continent. Noisy. Too noisy. There are too many people. It makes me feel like I'm outnumbered. It doesn't feel good. Let's not kill them. Lei Changtian chuckled coldly and sighed softly. Suddenly, he flipped his hand. With a smack, he slammed it down. Aside from these two Tao integration stage super mighty figures, everyone else from the Shun family, the Yin family, and the Huangfu family, regardless of who they were all slapped into mincemeat by this sudden slap, right as astonishment appeared on their faces. It was like swatting flies with a fly swatter. Blood splattered all over the ground. At this moment, blood flowed like a river and converged into a stream before condensing in front of them. Everyone was dumbstruck. Lei Changtian said indifferently, "How can I absolve myself from the blame?" He was still sighing with melancholy a moment ago, but in the next moment, he was already ruthless and merciless. He didn't even need Zhuo Xiaoduo to remind him. He was merciless and merciless in his attacks. Upon witnessing this scene, the two remaining survivors, the two Tao integration stage experts of the Wang family, were instantly dumbfounded. They were completely dumbfounded. They stared blankly at the churning waves of blood behind them. They couldn't even move their eyes. On the other side, the Liu family, Wu family, Yu family, and Lu family in their own camp didn't feel the slightest bit of joy when they saw this scene. They only trembled in fear. Why did this powerful existence suddenly make a move to kill? He didn't feel like he was going to kill anyone, nor did he feel any murderous intent. What was going on? Are they really going to kill us to silence us? We all thought that he was just joking. This old man, can no longer be described as a ruthless person. He is a cruel wolf. Everyone, don't be so nervous. The reason why I attacked was because these people all wanted to run away. Lei Changtian said in distress, "I want them to stay, and I want them to calm down, so I had to come up with this plan. I don't know how to reason with them, and I'll try my best not to blabber when I can. That's all." The muscles on Zhuo Xiaoyan's pretty face twitched. What you meant by staying here and calming down was to kill him with one slap. Then this sentence was really appropriate. There was no room for exaggeration. Everyone stayed, and they stayed forever. They quieted down like never before, and they would never make a scene again in this lifetime. The others are a little noisy, and I'm also worried that the news will be leaked. Lei Changtian turned his head and looked at the four guards of the Yu family and the Liu family. Suddenly, everyone trembled in unison. "Grandpa," so Xiaoduo called out, "These are my friends." Lei Changtian's attitude suddenly changed. He smiled and said, "Good boy. Friends can also leak secrets." "I guarantee that they won't," so Xiaoduo said seriously. Everyone looked at Zhuo Xiaoduo with gratitude. "You all can go back. Remember not to talk nonsense." So Xiaoduo smiled and waved his hand. "Little fatty, don't pretend to be unconscious. If the news here leaks out, I won't look for anyone else but you." "Don't worry, Zhuo." The unconscious Yuxia jumped up and said energetically, "Don't worry. Not a single word will leak out. Let's go, let's go." "Okay. Zhuo, I'll contact you tomorrow." The Yuxia began to call out to the others. "Let's go, let's go. Let's go to the meeting. I'll be the host." In the Liu family, Fourth Master Liu looked at Zhuo Xiaoduo with a complicated expression and said, "Take care. When I get out, I'll pay a visit to the Liu family," Zhuo Xiaoduo said seriously. We'll wait for you. Under the Yu Xia's lead, everyone left in unison. Only Zhui Xiaoduo, Zhui Xiaoyan, the demon ancestor, and the two Dao integration stage experts of the Wang family were left. The entire Dingjun stage became extremely empty. The two Dao integration stage experts felt uncomfortable all over and couldn't help but tremble all over. Only the two of us are left. What? What do you want to do? Bai and Jiao turned into two streaks of black and white light, respectively, and swept away the power of their souls. Zhui Xiaoduo was not to be outdone either. He immediately rushed into the pool of blood and began to rummage through it excitedly. These people are going to stay here forever. They probably don't want any of their worldly possessions. There's so many spatial rings here. How many good things are there? Even if we don't need them, we can sell them and benefit the world, robbing the rich and giving to the poor. It's always possible. Zhui Xiaoduo actually managed to collect more than 70 storage rings and their personal weapons and put them all into the storage rings. Well, this was mainly because Lei Chongtian's cultivation base and strength were truly unfathomable. His strength was so precise that he only wanted to take his opponent's life and destroy his opponent's body. He didn't take any of his worldly possessions at all. This made Zhui Xiaoduo overjoyed. The demon ancestor rolled his eyes. Who do you plan to help? Do you have a target in mind? Zhui Xiaoduo replied righteously. As the saying goes, if you're poor, you should take care of yourself. If you're rich, you should help the world. Of course I have a target in mind. Lei Chongtian was very pleased. His grandson's awareness was quite high. Not bad, not bad. It's no wonder your mother has taught you for so many years to have such a heart. Of course, Grandpa. If we were rich, I would have. Zhui Xiaoduo didn't get a chance to finish his sentence before he saw the demon ancestor's expression turn a little off. Ahem, we're poor. The demon ancestor felt like he couldn't continue this conversation. Look at the two of you, brother and sister. You have 4 hands and 3 divine artifacts. Do you think I'm blind? You're so fucking poor. Just from what I've seen, you're already extremely wealthy on the Umno Alliance continent. No, that's not right. Even in the entire Astral Souls continent, or even the other 3 continents, few people would dare to say that they could take out that much. Zhui Xiaoduo walked around the 2 Dao integration stage experts, collecting things. However, the 2 Dao integration stage experts didn't dare to move at all. There was no other reason. The old man in front of them was simply too terrifying. He was so terrifying that he exceeded the scope of their knowledge. They had originally wanted to use righteousness to suppress him. After all, no matter what kind of expert he was, he had to consider the consequences of offending so many established families in Shangjing. There was also the overall situation of the world, the role of high-level cultivators, etc. That these were all problems that peak cultivators of the Astral Souls continent had to consider as long as they were individuals. But in the end, they had just threatened him, and he had only said a few words in total. And this person had casually raised his hand and directly slapped most of them to death, leaving only the 2 of them who had escaped the net. The instant the demon ancestor killed them, the 2 Dao integration stage experts' heads buzzed. How could there be such a lunatic in this world? Could it be that he didn't care about the 5 major families at all? Didn't he care about the situation of the continent and the safety of the world at all? The 2 Dao integration stage experts of the Wang family were so aggrieved that their lips trembled. What kind of crazy old man was this? In the past, who wouldn't be wary of such a move? However, this old man was actually like this. In that case, he had killed everyone else without any warning, yet he hadn't killed the 2 of them. Was it because he was more or less concerned about the 2 of them, or did he have other intentions? However, no matter what, it was good that they were still alive. However, Lei Chongtian turned his head and looked at Zhui Xiaoduo with a benevolent smile. My good grandson, why didn't you let me kill these 2 guys? Zhui Xiaoduo smiled very innocently and said, Grandpa, these 2 are Dao integration stage experts. It's a pity that they were killed by you with a single palm strike. Upon hearing this, the 2 Dao integration stage experts felt even more relieved. Zhui Xiaoduo was still looking at the big picture. That was good, that was good. When they returned, they had to report this matter to their family. This matter needed to be considered at length and could not be rash anymore. Who would have thought that Zhou Xiaoduo, who was born in a small border city and came from a country bumpkin background, would have such a powerful backer? With such a ridiculously powerful grandfather, this matter was really troublesome. Lei Changtian frowned. Pity. Upon hearing Zhou Xiaoduo's words, the demon ancestor couldn't help but feel the urge to teach his grandson a lesson. Women's kindness was not to be taken lightly. If a snake was not beaten to death, it would be harmed. Although it was a good thing that his grandson was so kind, it was too easy for others to take advantage of him. Lei Changtian was very worried. This child was too kind, Xiaoduo said. That's right, Grandpa. It's a pity to kill them just like that. Nian Mao, and I have never had any experience fighting against Dao integration stage experts. This is a great opportunity. Why don't we let them spar with us before we talk about what happens next? Lei Changtian's facial muscles twitched instantly. He understood. He completely understood. I'll let these two spar with me first. Trash can be reused. When they're done with their spar and have no more value, I'll kill them myself. Was this what they meant by talking about what happens next? Suddenly, he felt that his earlier worries were groundless. This little bastard was kind? What did that have to do with him? To think that he was so kind, it seemed that this old man was the one who was truly too kind. Why was this old man's old face burning? Did you two hear that? Lei Changtian looked at the two Dao integration stage experts of the Wang family. If you want to kill us, just do it. What's the point of saying so much? Humiliating others like this is not what a hero should do. The two Dao integration stage experts of the Wang family wore expressions of grief and indignation. These two were also very experienced people. After hearing Zhou Xiaoduo's words, how could they not know that they were overthinking things? Lei Changtian narrowed his eyes. Humiliate you? Do you think you're worthy? Let me tell you clearly. Spar with my grandson and granddaughter tonight. If they can successfully adapt to the way and atmosphere of fighting against Dao integration stage experts, I'll be merciful and spare your lives. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.